I did not expect this.
All right, everybody. It sounds like that you sold fish on the black market in order to afford your Magic collection. Is this true? Can this be validated?
Sweaty, hot people playing video games for hours. Just button mashing.
Don't stop
and
talking.
And then the next day, someone's getting married at the altar.
Keep talking to me.
7 to 8. That's where I like to hold the wheel.
We're talking about this on a Magic channel.
I know, it's amazing. But I'm driving to go get Magic cards.
I love it. I'm a cat, bro. I jumped.
He was the best.
Waffle,
yeah. Loved him. Waffle Jones. You can't put light through that thing. That is a thick sleeve.
Yeah.
It's inbox.
Very expensive.
Very, very expensive.
Yeah.
I'll just show up as like Jace the Mind Sculptor with a mustache.
That would be great. All right, Mark.
Yes, friend.
It's February 3rd, 2023. Do you know what that day was?
The day we met.
It was the day we met.
Yes,
I decided to go to our local LGS, which is Millennium Games in Rochester, New York. Actually, it's Henrietta, New York, but Rochester.
Great store.
And it was for the pre-release of Phyrexia All Will Be One. I sat down at the table, and the store at that time, it was crazy packed.
Oh, yeah.
It was one of the busiest I've ever seen the old location. And if you are from the Henrietta area and you've been to Millennium Games, you know that the old store definitely was a bit cramped, which is why they moved into their new space, and it's awesome. But we're there. I'm taking you there now. Nerd sweat is just abundant. And then a certain bearded man sits down next to me at the pre-release. And you like to shake hands.
Yeah.
So
I introduced myself, I think, to everybody around me.
Yeah, it probably went a little something like this.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Mark.
It's nice to meet you. I'm Kyle. So Phyrexia All Will Be One, huh?
Yeah.
And then you decided to tell me that this is actually the first time that you've played Magic in quite some time. Yeah. You're getting back into the hobby at this point.
From Gate Crash.
From Gate Crash.
Yeah, many years.
Yep. So I want you to. So let me also just preface this. This is a brand new interview series I'm going to be doing first with my friends, and I chose the most handsome to go first.
Thank you, Kyle.
You're welcome. You're so welcome. And I want to dive into your history with MTG. Mm-hmm. I also want to go into like your own independent stories and sort of like relive the times like when you were maybe at your original game store, what got you into the game, all that type of stuff. Okay. And of course, where you are currently.
Okay.
Like what are your favorite decks? Where are you at now with the hobby, etc. But how about we go back? So we'll get to the pre-release in a little bit more detail because you ghosted me for a little bit after that. Which is ironic because, now I ghost you sometimes. But that aside, take me back to maybe the very first time you got into MTG. Do you remember it?
Yes, I do. Clear as day. My friend Mike was playing with a couple friends. This is back in Staten Island. He was playing at Comic Book Jones, and I showed up at his house. He lived around the corner from me. And, I went and hung out one day and called to Mike, went to his house. He's playing with a bunch of friends. I said, what are you playing? He goes, I'm playing Magic. I used to dabble with Yu-Gi-Oh! But when I seen Magic, I got real interested. He ended up let me play I think it was Metamorph. It's Zendikar block.
Megamorph?
Was it Megamorph? I don't
with
know.
Like the Mistclaw Raptor or whatever, where it turns upside down?
It would transform everything. Mass Polymorph. There it is. Mass Polymorph. Yeah. And I don't remember the other decks that I played, but I played with his Mass Polymorph deck, standard. And just loved the format. Learned there was a lot to take on at first. And then I went and purchased like a bunch of pre-constructed 60-card decks. Whatever I can grab, I grabbed. Learned how to play a little bit. And then showed up at my local game store, Comic Book Jones, RIP. They're no longer there. But I went and played, and I got wrecked and didn't understand Magic and why things were important. And you would read cards and say, this is so powerful. And it's terrible.
Yeah.
So, I just learned from playing with some friends. And one of the first times that I really, really became serious was when I sat down to play Phyrexia. And that was
not the Phyrexia that we got into, but the original
Phyrexia, which is why it's very funny to me when I got back into it. It's like, this is what started Magic. And it was Phyrexia, and I did not draft, but a sealed format. Also got destroyed because he was just not a good player at the time. And loved it, man. Just kept on going back, and then got more and more into it. I fell off shortly after that. I played like the Worldwide block, and it fell off shortly, and picked back up at the end of Avacyn. And when I went to Avacyn, that's when I really played. I played the game. I enjoyed the game. I loved playing Burn, and I loved going as fast as possible, and just I loved watching people flip out when I beat them on an $89 deck.
You've been scum since the very beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. Take that.
I want you to. So I think that you're probably one of the most prepared to do this.
Okay.
I would love if you can just take me back to like your original game store and just walk me through the game store.
All
like
right.
I would love to get your interpretation now as to what you went through when you were 10 years younger.
All right. So coming into this store, it was real small compared to, even the smaller version of Millennium Games.
And this is in New York City.
Staten Island to be specific.
Yep.
And it was just full of the best personalities, from the owner to, a close friend of ours, Waffle, man. He was the best. Waffle, yeah. Loved him. Waffle Jones. But I met him randomly at like a party one time at my house. And he came wearing a Penguins costume, like the hockey team.
Yeah.
And he had a toucan beak on, and he introduced himself as Waffle. And I was like, "You're delicious with jelly." And was our thing. And then every time I walked into Comic Book Jones, there was Waffle, and I would yell, "He's delicious with jelly." And we just became, it was just a cool environment to be in. It was fun to be around, and just fun people.
Is that also the same game store that you basically learned MTG in?
I learned, 100%, yeah.
Was it, tell me about like the playroom or the play area. Was it all, because I know some stores that are smaller like that, especially if they're more like holes in the wall. Okay. You kind of got to combine the play area with the floor.
Oh, that's exactly how it was. Yeah, they would pull out folding tables and just move things aside. And, you had people coming in to purchase comic books, and maybe just don't do it that day because it was that tight.
Yeah.
It was a good time though, just everyone real snug together.
How many people, like maybe at max capacity, how many people did you fit in there? Like, can you recall?
I'm gonna say like 30 was a lot, but maybe they pushed more, and you were like, you're sitting snug, but it was worth it.
It's like over the recommended like fireman's quota or whatever.
I don't know about that, but like as far as seats go, 100%.
Did you mostly in the early days play a specific format like standard, modern, limited, sealed? Was there a specific one?
I enjoyed sealed a lot because I always hated giving up my money card to build a better deck.
Yeah.
So I even to this day I try to avoid draft. But standard, I went right for standard. I didn't know anything about anything else. I had seen them playing early on Commander.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what those decks were.
At that shop,
yeah.
And that was 10 years ago?
No, probably longer now. I was talking M10.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
M10.
Quite a while ago.
Yeah.
How old were you at that time?
Let's see, I'm 34 now. I had to be in my early 20s going in and playing, maybe even younger.
Yeah. So it sounds like you had a lot of freedom.
Yeah, absolutely. No family, no children, just a job and a dream. Go play Magic on Friday.
One of our other friends, Tim, he talks about this too in his episode, which is coming out soon. And whenever he had a paycheck at a certain point of his life, he was like, all right, I know this much has to go toward rent and my utilities. The rest of it, though, that's for Poppy. Yep. Poppy's going to spend that money on Magic cards. Were you the same way?
Oh, 100%. I got paid on Wednesday, and Thursday we were hanging out in my back room playing Magic. Just talking decks, trying to think what can we get? How can we build something a little stronger?
That's my slogan now. Support my addiction so I can support your addiction.
Oh, I love it.
Because it's an addiction. Yeah, for sure.
Support addictions, friends.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's like early days. You're in this small, cramped, little sweaty store in New York City that's no longer there now. And in terms of that store specifically, do you remember when it closed? Was it like over COVID? Was it longer ago?
I think it was prior to that. They had shifted. I believe it was 2 stores over. They never bounced back into Magic after someone had opened up another shop, this is where I played Standard for Ravnica, Return to Ravnica, I should say.
Yep.
And I played there, and I played Naya Blitz, and I'll always say that because that's my favorite deck, playing Standard.
You just like won over 3 people watching this video.
I loved it.
They're like, yeah, fuck yeah. If you're a Naya Blitz enjoyer, subscribe to the channel right now.
Yeah. Attack fast, win turn 3.
There you go.
Turn 4 you play that Hell Rider. That's it. They walk away. They don't even say I concede. They just walk away in rage.
You might not even know this, but so going to my origin, I'm not going to go into too much because I feel like I'm going to rehash it too many times if I do that, but it was this room we're sitting in right now is where I played like my reintroduction to Magic. I had a folding table out in this room, and I sat down with Fad. His interview is also coming, and we just played one-on-one Commander in this room. Very 2.5 years ago.
Very cool. Yeah, Commander is very new to me. Having said that, I believe I met you, and then shortly after meeting you is when I built my first Commander deck. I had moved up here from New York City, and just wanted to get back into a hobby that I enjoyed, and needed a friend group, and figured, let me get myself out there. What can I do, and where can I meet people?
Right.
So.
Well, and you used to work with like cell towers or cell phones. Yes. What was it?
Yeah, I used to work for telecommunications.
Yeah, and so you had a chance to travel a lot. And so it sounds like you were already somewhat loosely familiar with this area, the Henrietta, Rochester, New York area.
Correct.
Which is why you knew about the game store in the first place to go there.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Did you actually, like when you were in telecommunications and doing all of your traveling, did you actually make it a point to go out to Millennium for anything else?
Oh, yeah. I would buy dice constantly. I love baby dice, and they would have baby dice, and I would go to that store. I'd say at least once a month. Whenever I was up here, I'd make it a habit to pass through and see if they have anything new.
It's just so crazy to me. Like I think this is something we should get into right now, and if it's okay with you. So Magic for me is like a people's game, right? I'm sitting down at the table to be with the people that I love or I just want to be with, right? And I think that you and I are sort of on the same page in terms of that. It's for the personalities, it's for the communication, the socialization, all that stuff. I
would definitely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy the experience between two individuals, facial interaction, just the bonding. I'm a people person. I love people.
Yeah. So it's always been a people game for even when you're playing like, Standard.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Just get out of your home a lot. So get out, see new people, get out, change your environment. It's important to me.
I think that's really for me the core of why I still really enjoy this game and I spend as much money as I do. It's simply because it's a great excuse for me to get together with other people. And there was this void in my heart that was there with Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I played Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot as a kid and then eventually outgrew it. And I had an experience in college where I tried to get back into Yu-Gi-Oh! It didn't work out so well. And then one of my original roommates who I had, he wasn't the best person, but he introduced me to Magic the Gathering. And so that was Zendikar Rising era, somewhere in that ballpark was when I was first exposed to MTG. And then after that, I just never played it because I don't think I had the right group to get into it with. But then when Thad, interview coming, introduced me to the game again, it really ignited for some reason. Maybe it was the absence of Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I've always wanted to get back into card games. Maybe it was the fact that the format that he introduced me to was Commander, hence, getting together with other people and playing. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but for some magic combination, some magic culmination of reasons, it just bit me really, really hard. So, and I feel like maybe for you, it's also to a similar level of like intoxication or infatuation. like with the game itself.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed strategy games. I feel like this is one of the most perfect strategy games created. I've always loved fantasy, so you bring strategy and fantasy together.
Yep.
And that's what just always draws me to it. I love elves, and I get to play with an elf ball deck. It's awesome.
Mono green elves.
Mono
by the way,
green elves.
None of this Lathril shenanigans.
No, just mono. Yeah, and I bring Azori to the table.
Yeah.
And I bring him fast.
Combo, infinite mana, and I guess I just win.
Yeah, just pump infinitely.
Yeah,
everyone's dead. Trample.
Yeah, exactly. So now, I mean, that's your Azuri deck. You have a bunch of other decks, and I would love to get into those. But stepwise, kind of going through your history. So New York City, playing MTG. When did you fall off again?
I fell off after Gate Crash.
Okay.
So I joined right before Return to Ravnica. Played Sealed for that. Drafted in that, actually. And just started playing that standard format again, all those decks. You had Huntsmaster of the Fells, Reanimator decks. I loved playing just Burn or never played blue. Wasn't a blue guy.
Yeah. Even to this day, you're not.
No, I'm terrible with. I could sit with a hands of 7 and have 5 counter spells and don't do anything with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they pretty much go into the graveyard when I get wheeled by Tim.
That is the story of life. You're kind of resolving a bit though. It sounds like you're looking at building some more control-y style.
Yeah, I gotta broaden my horizons a little bit. Just see what's out there. Learn how to play blue. Maybe if I understand blue, I can beat blue more.
You're one of the, you probably don't know this, you're one of the inspirations for me to sort of dive back into tribal a little bit because you are like a tribal man.
Oh, yeah, tribal king. Love it.
You're out in the jungle.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's how tribal you are.
Whatever I can build tribal, I'm going to do it. I love it.
That's true.
I absolutely love it. I got cats going on right now.
This is so true.
And I hate cats in real life. Sorry, world, but I do. Fish and bird, man. Fish and birds.
But for me, I assumed, I gave myself this identity that I was not a tribal player. I'm like, I'm combo or mill or name any other type of play style, but I'm not tribal, right? Until I started to look at it through like a different lens of like, well, if I'm playing Niv Mizzet Perun, that's basically instant and sorcery tribal. It's not the same.
Never thought about it like that.
But it basically is,
okay.
Right? And so I'm like, well, I'm just playing themes anyway. So I'm like, let me dive back into this. So I've really started to reintegrate tribal gameplay into my experience, and I gotta say it's nice because it's simple. I know what I'm getting myself into when I pick up the deck. I actually kind of like that about it.
Okay.
But I don't know what your experience is. If you like a more simple play style, or if maybe you disagree, maybe you don't agree with that.
I don't know. I think of it from like a fantasy world, like you're playing as a sorcerer and you're conjuring spells, and you just have this massive army of like one type of creature. That's the way I like to think of it. Very like Lord of the Rings when they're just battling. You have trees fighting goblins. That's the way I like to play.
Well, yeah, I mean, per the lore, right? We're planeswalkers.
Yeah.
Ourselves,
True.
right?
True.
And it's technically spells.
Yeah.
The church doesn't love that, but
No. That's true.
I know it all too well. So nowadays, we play in a commander group that gets together at least once a month. Rarely we'll do like twice a month at this point. And like my time has really been eaten up by like the channel and, content production. I also recently started a new job too. That hasn't really helped because I had to do all the onboarding with that, but that's a whole nother story. So our current group, I am extremely happy with.
Yeah, I can agree.
So 2 people coming up that I've already done the interview for, but yours is going to go live first. So Tim and also our other friend Thad are a part of this group. And I think it's a wonderful group of people. We've had the chance and the pleasure of getting together with at least one time a month and playing. It's definitely the best group I've been a part of.
Yeah, I can agree. Just there's so many different personalities.
Yeah.
And that's again why I love coming together rather than playing like online,
Right.
Don't get me wrong. If you can talk online and socialize online, yeah, it's fun. But the in-person experience is what I really love about Magic. And our friend group is just really awesome,
And then the other day, Elijah, if you're watching this, why did you do this to me? Drop the bombshell. This guy got like behind the scenes tickets to see Post Malone in the VIP section. And then he proceeds to play Magic with Post Malone and with the nitpicking. What is this? Who? And he
didn't expect it.
And I played with him like 3 or 4 times. He never told me this.
Just sitting there in front of him on the playmat.
I know. I think that's why I brought it up, because I was like, "Oh, you got your playmat signed?" He goes, "Oh yeah, I got it signed backstage with Post Malone." I'm like,
cool experience. Yeah, that's awesome.
Why did you?
Super jealous.
Yeah. Give me his number, please.
Come on, Posty.
Yeah, it sounds like he doesn't have Post Malone's number, but seriously, Post Malone, if you want to come on the show, you're welcome at my house anytime.
Or just play with us, please. We'd love that.
Absolutely. So, another part of your history that I want to get into. It sounds like that you sold fish on the black market in order to afford your Magic collection. Is this true? Can this be validated?
Did sell fish. Black market? No. Maybe.
Okay. Tell me about the fish, because fish is like a big part of your life too. It's like aquariums and terrariums, and that's a huge part of your past. Yeah. So I want to learn more about that with you. I mean, maybe I know a good amount, but for the audience's sake too, I think they should know about your past. So,
well, I love Magic the Gathering, but there is something I do love more, and that's aquariums. I love since I'm a child. I think 4 years old is the earliest memory that I have of my father helping me set up a 10-gallon fish tank. That was, now that I think about it, was just chaos. But absolutely loved it since then. And it's actually, when I was in high school is when I really, really picked up the hobby. I never stopped. There was, small pauses in between, and that was just due to maybe traveling for work, and I just can't take care of the fish. So I'd rather sell them than keep them and, chance them surviving.
Right. So it kind of got you into the mindset already of like, this is a hobby, but it's like a living hobby because you're constantly cycling these things in and out of your life for other people to appreciate too.
Yeah. And living in New York City, there's a lot of local businesses, and aside from your big box, corporations, PetSmart, Petco, I'd go to a lot of the smaller spots to sell aquarium plants because I absolutely loved growing plants. I have a green thumb since birth. I learned a lot from the elderly, my grandparents, or, my neighbor a couple houses down from my grandparents. They taught me a lot about growing plants on, outside in a garden or on your desk. And I took that knowledge and I applied it to the aquarium world and just grew as many plants as possible, just creating nice environments for fish to live. I always try to do everything as natural as possible, less chemical, less plastic, whatever it is. If I can get it as close to a natural ecosystem as possible, that's what I'm trying to achieve. I would grow so many plants that I just said, hey, let me take this hobby and see what else I can do with it. And I just started trying to sell things online or selling things. I sold a lot locally to businesses, and then I had a small group of people that would constantly hit me up for if it was coral or plant, whatever it was, Facebook Marketplace or eBay. I just tried to get myself out there, which I would then turn into more aquariums or more Magic cards or maybe a couple D&D characters, because I like minifigures a lot.
Is this how you afforded your playset of Volcanic Islands?
I wish. I'll get there one day.
Yeah, he doesn't have a playset of Volcanic Islands.
I don't even think I have one.
Unless you've been holding out on me, in which case...
No. I would definitely... I think I would have that in a deck and then show up and then take it out of the deck and then proxy it with something like the back of a card that says, this is this card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just saw... Are you familiar with the player Andrea Mengucci?
No, I am not.
So he's on the Card Market channel a lot, like Card Market Magic. The one, Charizard, the episode where they did Charizard, which is the one where you start a different game and they play underneath the table.
Okay.
So he was one of those players in that table. So Andrea went to this recent, I don't know if it was Legacy or like maybe like an OG Magic tournament. And he literally had to go to his bank. And there is I don't know if it's a vault or a box, whatever he has at the bank. He had to go to the vault to get Magic cards out because the Magic cards are worth so much money. He doesn't feel safe keeping them in his home.
Yeah, I've had bad experiences having children and things that have value. They've gotten to Magic cards not of value, but they have definitely destroyed plenty of pristine boxes of Pokemon games. And that's, I would do the same.
There was a day where you showed up at my house and you're like, oh yeah, my kids, they kind of bent a couple cards, and I looked at one of them and it was mangled.
Yeah, I mean, they've definitely gotten cards. Yeah, but thank you. Under $2.
Yeah, that's actually something we've been doing too, is trying to fit in more budget formats and like Pauper. And I also think that the next logical step, honestly, is going to be something like tiny leaders.
Oh yeah,
because you're big into tiny leaders.
Loved it.
Tell me about tiny leaders.
When I fell off playing standard because it just became like, all right, this is too expensive. You know, aside from the traveling, just it's too much to keep up with, to constantly turn over the decks, and you know, then you fall off. You don't like the way the decks are playing, even after you tweak them a little bit. And tiny leaders is just something that I think it was my friend Dan that brought it up, and yeah, we started playing tiny leaders.
Shout out to Dan.
Dan, yeah, it was good times, Dan. Good times. He would whip my ass.
I'm sure that I'm not the only one that exists in this hobby that may be watching this and doesn't know what tiny leaders is, and you're probably a better person to explain it. So could you just explain to me what tiny leaders is?
Tiny leaders was a format that I'm praying comes back, but it is a 50 card singleton deck constructed just like Commander, with converted mana cost 3 or less. So you open up your world to still beautiful cards. Cyclonic Rift is in there, and really powerful cards that you could still play with. And then you bring in cards that you probably never touch because it's just a 3-drop, and they're better cards maybe for 4 in Commander.
Life totals or less?
Life totals, I think, were 25.
I think that's right.
Maybe 30. I don't recall. It's been a while since I've played tiny leaders, but
do you have a specific deck that you play a lot of, or that you used to play a lot of in tiny leaders?
So I used to play Elf Ball and Grenzo.
Logical.
Then those are the 2 decks that I converted over to Commander. Tavasa is actually my first Commander deck because I really just like the whole Voltron thing. From Tiny Leader, those are one of my 2 favorites.
Bant Tuvasa, not Simic Tuvasa.
Oh yes.
Because Simic Tuvasa is landfall.
Okay.
Bant Tuvasa is like auras and equip me and kill things.
See, my knowledge of MTG is not all there.
I said this, I'm gonna just juice myself up again. So you know Cliff from the Thursday group?
Yes.
He said, I sat down with him the other day. I had like this fat, what is it called? Like a garbage plate.
Okay.
That I got from Tom Walls, right? Is that what it's called? Tom Walls?
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there eating it, and Kyle, another guy who's played since the dawn of Magic, sits there and goes, I was using this one card and it made it prevents damage. It's like a fog. It's in my fog tribal deck. Yeah, he has a fog tribal deck. You're welcome. And he's like, it makes a bunch of spiders. I can't remember the name. And I was like, oh, Arachnogenesis. And then he said something else, and I was like, oh, Devastation Tide. And Cliff looked over at me and he goes, for somebody who's so new into this hobby, you sure know a hell of a lot.
It's something I could never remember. I could play with the card in like 5 minutes later. I'm like, what was that card? I don't remember what it was. It's just too much.
Did I just see the Italian in you?
Yeah, a little bit. It came out. Just too much. I'm always thinking for other people, I have lots of children, so I'm always thinking of the kids, and my memory bank just goes somewhere else.
I love it.
I'll never forget how to play Magic, but I will definitely forget the deck I just played, except for if I own it.
Yeah. So recap on the tiny leaders then. So you are hoping that comes back as a format because that was probably one of your better times. Do you feel like you're going to feel the same way about Commander? Maybe like, I don't know, 15 years from now or so. Like I'm just ballparking like when that's going to slowly start to fall out of favor, maybe. I mean, which it might not, but I don't know.
Personally, I love Modern. I think Modern was like an awesome format. I hope Tiny Leaders comes back. I don't see Commander like fading. When I was playing, that was a very new. When I first started playing, that was just like the tip of the iceberg of a new format, and it's only grown since then. Unless they do some bonanzas ban list where it's just not, you just ban 50% of the cards, then yeah. I mean, that's essentially what Tiny Leaders is you're cutting and restricting, which is why I think it fell off, if I'm not mistaken, but it was just a fun format to play,
Yeah. I think we can definitely get back into that with our group eventually.
I still have 2 decks.
Yeah. Well, I think the other thing too is for me, it's definitely easier because I don't have children, right? Like my only focus is on like my wedding coming up later this year, really, in terms of like a financial pit,
stressful.
Well, it is, but your financial situation and all that is so, incredibly different because you have like so many kids.
Yeah.
You have,
God bless kids.
Yeah. Yep. You have a new house, which you're renovating. Like you have a lot of things which are taking up your time and also taking up your financial sort of like wellspring. So,
I mean, I've wanted plenty of Moxes, and I go, do I buy the Mox or do I get my son the Thomas the Train set? And then I go with the Thomas the Train set.
Because you're a good dad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't wait for them to play Magic.
I was going to say.
I got my oldest. She's into it, but...
Then you can just like completely cope yourself into buying all of the stuff you've always wanted. You're like, well, I need this to play with my son.
I do that now. I look and I'm like, oh, if he only liked Transformers. Like, this is a car that changes into a robot. He's not into the whole robot thing. Likes cars. I'm like, come on, I want a Transformer toy, please. Just, I won't ever show my collection, but
this is a total random aside, but I got to get it out of my head right now, otherwise it'll just disappear into the ether. I used to go to a ton of in-person auctions, so I don't know if you know this about me, but that was like my thing. So there's a local auction company. I don't know if I should shout you guys out or not, so I'm not going to shout you out, but there's a local auction company and they would go and do a lot of like farming estates and that type of thing. And there was an auction that was like down the road from my old house I used to live in, where I grew up in. So I go to this auction and I'm standing next to this person and all I hear is, I wasn't sure if it was like Korean, Chinese, Japanese, because I'm just not cultured like that. But turns out it was Japanese. So there's somebody speaking Japanese on the phone next to me. And I was like, I am in the middle of a farming town in upstate New York. Why is there a person speaking Japanese on a phone next to me? And so finally I'm sitting there and then the auctioneer is like, and next up is the amazing toy, the animatronic toy from 1978, right? And it's a robot. It's like an old collectible robot. And there's a person next to me who is bidding from Japan. They're awake in Japan telling them the price in yen or whatever it is that they have over the fucking phone. And then like further down, I learned that there was like somebody from like the Netherlands who was called in on like another line that was bidding on this toy. I guess it was like so historic. It was like one of the most historic robot toys ever.
That's amazing.
And so the people found out about it and they literally like sent people to the United States to bid on a toy in upstate New York. Mind blowing. Anyways.
I was trying to purchase a house because they had a first gen and a third gen Voltron in box.
Oh my God.
And I'm looking at the house. I'm like, one, it would have been perfect for us. Mm-hmm. Location is what set, that's what set other houses apart from. But yeah, man, I was like, oh, I can purchase this home and get a Voltron. Like, I'll sell that thing immediately. It's in box.
Very expensive.
Very, very expensive.
Yeah. That's one thing I never really got into. We should use this as a segue to get into another topic, which is alternative hobbies, because for me that was not really something I ever got into largely. Like keeping the thing in the box to the most extent that I've done that are those right next to you, which are old Grenadier, and I want to say maybe Fantasy Ground or Fantasy Flight miniatures. Those things are very old and they're very, very collectible. And the fact that it's still in the blister with the original stamp is like very rare. That's like the only thing that I own like that.
I was always, especially growing up as a kid or even a teenager, becoming more into the collecting, I had to open it up. I took care of it. It sat on a shelf. I wanted to appreciate the engineering that went behind it and just, again, I love Transformers. So I like to transform something that went from a car to this wicked awesome robot.
Yeah.
I also enjoyed purchasing broken ones and then trying to sculpt them to look broken.
Yeah.
And then paint them as best as I could to try to match the paint and blend it in as best as possible.
Well, you are very artistic.
Right.
So maybe this is not necessarily a hobby per se, because you really turned it into a business, but you had like a Christmas ornament business.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Can you tell me about that?
So I took sculpting and turned it into something, and I made Christmas ornaments for friends, for family. for strangers, and for local spots on the island, selling out.
Like historic places or
Yeah,
whatever. You would actually sculpt
museums,
it and then,
sculpting the houses that are on site at museums, figures that were on site at museums, even down to friends when they were getting married, something for them.
I didn't know that.
Hint.
Yeah. Hint, hint. Joke's on you. It's a Magic the Gathering wedding. If I don't get a volcanic island as a favor, then
I'll just show up as like Jace the Mind Sculptor with a mustache.
That would be great.
Ultimate reality Jace.
Joke's on you. I've already claimed Jace.
I'm just letting you know, if I am Jace, I'm throwing glitter everywhere. Sorry, Allie. It's just magic.
Yeah. My fiance Allie, she's gonna go as Liliana. I'm Jace. Solved. We've solved it.
There you go.
So that was something different that you did. In terms of like other hobbies, though, you've also done D&D. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I tried to get into D&D also through my friend Dan. He would play with a couple of his friends or our acquaintances or our friends, and he had a little group going, and I tried to get into it. I just always wanted to play with miniatures. They didn't always play with miniatures. They were just on the spot. Hey, I have this ball of lint. This represents my character. Or I have a coin. This is a few skeletons. And, it was fun to play, and I tried to get behind the whole role play of it. Got into it much later, actually after having kids.
Mm-hmm.
And during COVID, actually, is when I really started. I just, what are you going to do? I couldn't get together with friends, so I just started building armies and writing a storyline, and then when the world opened up a little bit, I was able to get out there and meet with my friend Mike. Mike was into D&D, and he's the guy who got me into Magic. So maybe he can get me into something a little bit different. And we played for a little while. It was just, hard sometimes meeting up. And again, it was still COVID and had little ones, so it wasn't always easy to get together then. I think I'd be able to do it more now, although my time is pretty spread.
Did you ever watch Critical Role?
Yes, season 2 was amazing. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
So I started watching season 1. So I was in college when they started releasing season 1 live, and I didn't realize it at the time, but looking back on it now, what a crazy life-altering experience that was for me, watching them play Campaign 1 live. And I'm talking like I was watching them on the Geek and Sundry set, like when they were on episode like 20 or something. So crazy to me to think that getting into that led to a 5-year-long campaign with me as the DM, and just the roller coaster of emotions that like proposed. Incredible game. And it was so much for me at the time. Like, I don't know if I could ever play another game of D&D. And I'm saying this might be a little bit heavy-handed. I don't know if I could ever play another game of D&D again, just because I had such a stellar experience with my 5-year-long campaign. It sits so perfectly in my mind. I don't know if I could do it again.
I mean, I'm ready to DM, so let's go, friend.
Maybe as a player.
I might be able to rope you back in. Yeah, as a player.
Maybe as a player.
Did you DM or did you play?
I DM'd.
Oh, see,
yeah.
DM would be. I mean, D&D overall is a new experience, but I've been on the play side. I'd love to DM and just tell a story. I have a storyline written. It's not complete, but it's pretty. I think it's pretty good.
Well, you're welcome to use my crazy amount of miniatures if you want. Nice, you can't see them in frame, but I have like a huge shelf over here of like minis and stuff.
Very nice collection.
Yeah,
well painted too.
So, well, I didn't paint all of them.
I can see what.
But some of them I painted.
Those are the ones I'm commenting on.
Oh, okay. All right. Half of them aren't finished. I'm like that guy from what's that old cartoon where the guy like can't finish any project? I can't remember what that is. I'm like that guy.
Sounds like my neighbor.
Yeah,
on Staten Island.
You just like start it, you just don't finish it. Sorry, over and over again.
I love you, Uncle Anthony.
Uncle Anthony. Oh, your family. This is something I forgot to ask. Your family, did they at all inspire either your love for MTG, or did they were they accomplices in another way to get you into other hobbies that were a bit nerdier?
So my father was an aquarium fan, and he was very nervous when I started my first saltwater tank, and I did my research, and I talked about it, and hey, Dad, I really want to set up this tank. I don't know, Mark. You have really bad experiences, and I said, we'll take it on together. My experience will be your experience. You've always wanted it. I've always wanted it. Let's just try it. And I set up his 55-gallon fish tank with a new tank, but his stand, his equipment. I set up the tank and slowly did upgrades over time. And we purchased an eel, and we watched the eel grow from 8 inches, as thin as a pencil, and it died at close to 5 feet and real fat. It was a cool experience, just learning different personalities in the fish, and just watching things grow, and how you can take something and just add it to a tank, and the stuff that can come off of that. I believe they harvest the stuff from the ocean directly, so it comes in, it looks like there's nothing on there, and then 3 months down the road, you got mussels growing, you have crustaceans of all different sorts, and it's just fun to watch your tank adapt to stay alive.
Fresh off the boat, literally.
Yeah. It was a cool experience, and so that's one hobby. Like my father.
That was your dad.
Yeah, that was my father. I tried to always get my brothers involved with my hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the stuff they liked, some of the stuff they would shit on me. I tried to get them into Magic. My brother Nick would play for a good while, but he never wanted to invest money into it. So he would just pick, here, I have a deck. You want to play with me right now? Yeah, screw it, I'm bored. Let's play. But they always had their own hobbies.
This was also the before times. This was before internet became mainstream.
Oh, yeah.
I bet you still had either a wall on the phone, or a wall on the phone,
a
phone on the wall,
phone
or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So I think about this. I was born in 97. How you doing? And I grew up with dial-up internet.
Oh, yeah.
So that's all I had throughout my entire, youth, and also growing up, was dial-up. So I had very limited internet access. I still remember the very first time. Let me just take you there. I'm in we had a game room where my brother had an old box TV, and my dad had built like this cubbied structure to house his game systems. He had like the N64, Sega Genesis, all that stuff, and it was in each individual compartment. And then there was the big box TV that sat in the middle. The carpet that was on the ground was this old, like, shaggy green carpet. It was disgusting. And we had these old yellow chairs that spun in circles. My mom got like a deal at a garage sale and picked these things up for me and my brothers so we could play games. And then across from that, we had this old secretary desk where our computer sat at. And so we did have dial-up internet. And so, we can't be on the phone. My mom loads up the internet on her end, and she checks email for the very first time. And I remember her logging in to an email and getting something. I think it was from like our cousin. Our cousin sent her like this copy paste email, like sort of like a copy pasta. That's the only way I can describe it. Sent it to her email, and she was dying laughing over whatever joke it was that she sent. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because look at where we are today, right?
Yeah.
And if you jump back another 10 years before that, nothing existed like that. The internet just simply didn't exist.
Yeah.
So you sitting there and playing with your brother, I wonder if people, where I'm going with this is, I wonder if certain people now are missing out on that type of experience because our lives are so much online now.
Yeah, I see. You're my youngest brother, Joe's age, also 97. And his friend group is mainly online, and I'm not knocking him for his lifestyle, but he will play video games, and his whole world is video games. And I guess I was more into, the physical interactions, where he was just online social interaction, and a lot of Call of Duty, and a lot of Grand Theft Auto.
Hey, I'll play Call of Duty.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mind. I dabbled in it. It was good. Actually, that's what stopped me from playing video games. Was Call of Duty when they logged me
about that.
They logged me out of my account. Damn you, Xbox! And I couldn't get back in. And I tried for a very long time, over a year of trying to get into my account. Them telling me, first you wait on the phone for 47 minutes, and then you finally speak with someone and they transfer you, and you wait another 25 minutes, and then there's nothing we can do for you. And then you do that several times saying, there's got to be an option. There's got to be an option. Finally, someone gives you an option and they pretty much lie to you. They send a code to you immediately. It resets before you even got a chance to open it because it was expired. And yeah, I gave up video games until I bought a Nintendo Switch. And that's when I was up here when I bought a Nintendo. I was outside of Rochester.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I came up here for work, and the site was pretty much going to get shut down because of bad weather. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, man, what am I going to do, man? I just got here. I came from Albany. I'm not traveling back there. I'm probably going to have to do the site in a day or two, so I'll just get a hotel over here. But what am I going to do with my time? Like I stayed up overnight. There's only so much TV I can watch. And I said, let me check the time. And I'm like, all right, cool. I got like an hour and a half before I have to get, before Walmart closes. Let me get over there. And I walked in and I just walked to the back of the store and I started looking at the stuff, and they had the last Nintendo Switch, and I purchased that, and I believe it was Skyrim, and I just played until I was so excited to play again. It was the first video game I picked up in a while, and I went right for a classic that I always loved, and I played it all night long. And I just sat in my car. I don't even think I checked into a hotel. I just played Skyrim until I had to go back to work.
I'm going to sound like a boomer, but maybe a boomer's not the right word, but you know what I mean. I love Skyrim.
Oh, great game.
The OG Skyrim experience, with my context in mind of like I had dial-up internet for my entire youth. When I got Skyrim, a few things had to meet my criteria in order for me to actually sit down and play a game at home. I had to be able to get achievements offline. Like I couldn't actually have to log online to get achievements. That was one of them because Xbox was an achievement system. I also had to be able to play a majority of the game offline, right? And Skyrim fully checked both of those boxes for me. So you can imagine young Kyle with nothing better to do over a summer. It was the summer of Skyrim. I just played Skyrim.
Great game.
One of the most goated games. Halo 3, by far, my favorite game of all time. Halo Skyrim 2. Is close.
Halo 2, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Halo 2.
My brother loves Halo 2,
yeah,
for sure.
Good one.
My brother also, this is just I'm gonna juice my brother up right now.
He's a good man. Why not?
He's a great man. Yeah,
definitely.
I love him. He's actually running for the. I'm gonna have to sponsor him on the channel.
Go for it.
He's actually running for the treasurer role of one of the local counties now.
Good for him.
He's been in office long enough that he's gonna hopefully be the treasurer.
Okay.
As long as he gets the Republican vote. So
good luck.
Yeah. That's just politics. Yeah, that's all it is. Awesome. So in terms of my brother, he during college time was like peak Xbox 360, right? Maybe the best time to ever be playing online, right? Because that we're talking the transitionary period from Xbox where you can play H2 online. Mind blowing, by the way. The transition over to Halo 3 and playing Halo 3 online, also mind blowing. And he played a game called Soul Calibur, which I'm sure a lot of people know what that is. But for those of you that don't, it's like a fighting game. And he was like ranked, I think he was ranked like 8th in the world.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Insane. He was playing against other people. Like you would see their names show up in tournaments and they would get like 3rd place, 1st place, whatever. Every tournament. He was playing online against those people. Crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so there's like a record of this. I'll actually see, I'm going to write down a note right now. I'll see if I can find the channel. But his original roommate, his name is Damien. Hi, Damien, if you ever watch this. Damien has a channel called Sacred Phoenix where he uploaded some of this OG Soul Calibur gameplay. Mind blowing to go back and watch it because it's like a time capsule. It's like I'm watching my brother from the past.
So. I would say it was good. I wasn't the best. I don't know what I was ever ranked, but if I had to rank myself in trash talking, I was up there. I was up there so much.
We can't talk about all the trash talk.
It's just a fun experience, good times. Yeah. Just pass over the mic. I don't even need to play. I'll just talk to people.
Man, this really reinforces. I feel like I need like a video game podcast or something because I love all the old gaming stuff. I'm a big like nostalgic person.
Okay.
I know for a fact, like 10 years from now, I'm going to look back on this MTG stuff and I'm just going to be like, just so much love and passion that I have, because like that's like my personality. I get very passionate and involved with things, you know.
Yeah.
So like I'm gonna look back on this and just love it.
So I've noticed like throughout the years, it's the same thing with friends. You know, I used to have many friends, and I feel like when you're passionate about something, from magic, aquariums, even my friend group, the smaller the better. You know, you get more out of it. So like I am passionate for my family, for my friends, for magic, for aquariums, and you know, everything else is second after that. So yeah, just I don't know where I was going with that. Just I guess
you're a lover.
I do.
Love people.
I don't ever hate people. You know, I could tell someone I hate them, but it's never true. Absolutely love people, and just, you know what I love to do in New York City. My wife loved watching me do this. I loved people watching. It was the best, because you could just sit down and look at two people sitting at a restaurant and be like, how did those two people meet? Are they friends? Are they in a relationship? Are they cheating? Who knows? You know, and you just play a little game in your head to see, you know, and just create a little story as you just sit there and eat your hamburger, you know, for like $40.
Yeah, New York City hamburger. Yeah, or the notorious New York City, you know, street talk where people are like getting up in your business, and you're like, I'll kiss you on the mouth now.
Yeah. No problem telling someone to kiss them. I won't do, but I'll get close.
I will kiss you on the mouth right now.
I was very loud, and I got to thank my friend Gal for that. Of Ozana Realty, he's a good friend of mine.
All right.
He broke me out of my shell, man. I wasn't this crazy talkative dude. I was very, very to myself. And he just told me one day, he goes, just put yourself out there. You know, just speak. What's the worst that's going to happen? Someone's going to reject you. Who cares? Just go. Yeah. Just put yourself out there. And then I took that word of advice. And I took some coaching and, you know, just self-talking, even just looking in a mirror saying, you got this. Just speak your mind, you know, and that has made me the person I am today.
Yeah, you unfortunately, especially if you're online, you just have to risk offending people.
Yeah.
There's no way around it.
No.
You know,
at the end of the day, you're always going to have a hater.
Yeah.
Even if they absolutely agree with you.
Yep.
They might just pick at the way you presented it, but
exactly.
Who cares?
There's a wonderful YouTuber / podcaster named Lex Friedman. Have you ever watched Lex?
No, I have not.
So he has some great material out there, but he takes a very unbiased stance to everything, because he takes basically the role of what reporters should be, which is I'm here for the story. I'm here for you. I want to figure out more about you and what you have to offer, right? That's what Lex Friedman does. And he posted something recently on his community tab talking about how there has been a lot of ups and downs recently with his life. And there's also been like a lot of online hate for him recently. And that's that vocal minority. You know what I mean? The online hate, that's the vocal minority that's coming after Lex. And I don't think it's deserved in any capacity. Like if you watch this man do an interview, he's very impartial. So I think that is a great correlation here, which is to say, even if you are the best unbiased reporter and a kind person, right, you're still going to get hate.
Yeah, just roll with the punches and just keep moving forward.
Yep.
That's the best advice. I always enjoy talking to my grandparents. They had lived through so much, you know. My grandfather lived through World War II, and he would just tell me, no matter what, just keep pushing forward, you know. If it bothers you, then do something and fix it. If it's not bothering you, just keep going. You know, don't worry about the rest of the world. The rest of the world will eventually follow you.
You keep talking. I'm actually gonna bring something. This is not planned.
All right, let's go for this. I'm excited.
Stay there.
I don't know what to talk about.
Audience.
Kyle is a good friend, and he's motivating me to do some things in my life that.
So this is my grandfather.
Can I see that? Can I see the photo?
That's my grandfather. Okay. I'll see if I can. Maybe that's good enough for everybody to see. His name's Larry, and he served in the U.S. Navy during World War II.
Oh, no kidding.
And his ship, which was the USS Quincy, sank.
Okay.
In I forget where, but it was overseas. His ship sank overseas, and I remember. All of a sudden, this isn't a magic podcast, by the way. I remember him telling me tons of stories, many of which were very traumatic, right?
Okay.
Like he still said he would have nightmares about his friends being eaten by sharks at sea as his ship sank. That's the trauma that generation had to go through, right?
I don't think I can do it personally.
It's like there's
just hearing things that my grandfather experienced, and like, you know, very similar stories. My grandfather was in the Army, but he had family members in the Navy, family members in the Air Force, and you know, just my great uncle was a glider and got shot out of the sky in World War II. Woke up, you know, 6 months later with a metal plate in his head and a glass eye, and you know, that man gave me the best birthday gifts. It was always weapons.
It was weapons.
It was always weapons. But
this is a live grenade here.
No. When I tell you the coolest Nerf guns this got me, the best. You know, I'm 5.
That's great. He's like, this here is a Glock 19 Gen 4. Here you go.
If my uncle could have created grenades that were Nerf, I would have had it.
Hey, man. I had a lot of fun with Nerf growing up.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, but I guess the point of me bringing that up, and also maybe to like put a bow on this, is I try to really practice appreciation for things.
Same.
Like every day if I can. And it's something that I think you eventually just build as a muscle. It becomes more subconscious than anything. You'll start to notice things like this, where we have this conversation and I'll go, my God, am I thankful for like what I have, right? Not only that, how thankful am I that I had the experience to actually know him, that man that's, you know, in that photo, probably about our age, probably even younger, right? Who served in the war. And then, you know, for our purposes, I mean, that's the country that he represented. It's where we live now, right? Yeah. I didn't have to do that. Yeah. He did.
I'm very grateful for the things that my grandparents have done and their neighbors and their friends have done to get to me, to get to where I am today. Just even as part of my personality, you know, you said it yourself. I appreciate every day, just life, just earth and trees and breathing and just noises, man. I love hearing birds chirp. Have you ever just sat there outside in the yard and just closed your eyes to listen to a bird chirp?
Yeah.
It's song. It's beautiful. And like, what created that? That's amazing.
Yeah.
I really appreciate life and just, I always give consideration to others. You never know what people are going through in their life. And I try to give them the best. I never look at it, I never look at someone like, oh, they slighted me. Maybe they're just having a bad day. Mm-hmm. And I smile at that person and I just keep on going, you know?
Yeah, I completely agree. Before my current job, I worked in the inner city in Rochester as a physician assistant, physician associate, whatever you want to say. And although I'm not an MD, for that population that I was taking care of, I was their doctor, right? Okay. That's how they viewed me. And it is one of the most humbling experiences that I've ever had over the past 3 years serving that community, just giving it my all. Like when I was in there, just like you're talking about, I'm there. You know what I mean? I'm there for the people and I want to give my full attention. And you really start to get a new perspective on life when you actually get to see something like true poverty and desperation and all that type of stuff firsthand. So yeah, to back up what we've already been saying, it really gives you an appreciation for life and what we have.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
We're very fortunate.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, even after the whole COVID experience, I think this is why I enjoy Magic just that much more, is that, you know, like that, a 2-week experience was turned into almost a 2-year experience. You know, just a lack of socialization with friends and just getting together and having Thanksgiving. You know, Thanksgiving was a weird time, people not wanting to come and just fights and family issues, and you know, everyone just scared at one point, you know. So coming together to play a game, just a simple card game, and just have fun with it and just be around each other's whenever you can, you know, just get out and socialize with people, touch a hand.
That's mi amor.
Yeah. You gotta connect the energies a little bit, you know.
So I think it's a beautiful sentiment. I think, again, that wraps back around to how we both view the hobby, which is for the people.
Yeah.
You know, is there anything maybe more controversial in regard to Magic the Gathering? Like, do you have like a controversial Magic the Gathering opinion, or maybe Let's go the opposite direction.
Always loved opening up packs. Never worth it though. And I had the worst luck whenever it came to open up packs. Even to this day, I can buy just like a random here. Let's just buy 3 random packs, and I crack something worth a whopping 7 cents, and then my daughter gets the $25 cyclonic rift, or the $10 foil. She just has the luck. Never had any luck with opening packs. So I just never wanted to invest. And, this is why I fell out of standards, just the constant need to invest. And that's why I went more towards modern. It was just like, all right, yeah, it's a big investment, but it's more long-term. And,
Sure.
Same thing when I came into Commander. Commander just happened to be popular. I tried to get into modern when I came up here. And when I got back into it, and I said, all right, well, let's find out what days they play modern, standard, and let's see what else is new. Pauper's very new. Hey, Commander's the thing. They play most of the weekdays. And weekends they play Commander. I said, all right, let's see. I already have tiny leader decks. Let's just
modify it.
Yeah. 50 more cards and I'm there. And it was just the consistency and the constant turnover rate between changing the deck. It was just too much to keep up with.
Yeah. There's even, we can take this argument like one step further, which I see argued a lot, is product fatigue.
Yeah.
There's too much product coming out, right?
Agree.
And that's something Tim and I talked about on our episode a bit too. But I'm kind of in the middle because I agree. I think it's a little extreme to have like 6 products plus come out every single year, because it's more than that at this point. When you count Secret Layers, it's more like in the 20s maybe,
Yeah.
right? It's crazy. It's a crazy amount of material that constantly keeps coming and coming with no end in sight, right? And a lot of it's brand new. It's not like it's just, we're just going to reprint some cards. It's all it is. And even when it is the case, it's like, okay, what is being reprinted? Should I be aware of it, right? To save money financially on my behalf? Like, what decks am I building? How can I fit in the new reprints into my deck? It's crazy to keep track of everything.
Yeah, I agree. Someone, for example, with myself, I just can't keep up with it. And I feel like I'm missing even Secret Layers. I'm just missing that opportunity to purchase that Secret Layer because it just came out so fast. And I just purchased one last month. And I have bills and responsibilities, and it almost becomes overwhelming.
For sure.
And I really wanted that Lara Croft Secret Layer, but I had to choose. What am I going to do? I didn't purchase anything from the set.
Do I eat?
Yeah. Thank God not there, but you have other responsibilities, kids or school programs, whatever it is. And I feel like the market is just so saturated, and they're just throwing out so much, and I can only imagine what a standard player must feel, because you purchase a deck and then, what is it, every 2 months, every 3 months?
I would love to interview a standard player or somebody where that makes up a bulk of what they're doing, like one of those formats where it's rotating out. That would be fascinating, because I'm so outside of that world.
I fell off all these years ago because of how often they put a new playset in, and it was nothing compared to what it is now. I couldn't imagine how fast, you just built this deck. Yes, I understand you want to change the format and, just continually turn over cards. And you get to play with new deck, and there's a new experience, but a little too fast for me.
Yeah.
Just dial it back. I would love just a little bit.
I think that the devil's advocate argument here, which again, this is why I fall kind of in the middle, because I kind of believe or exist sort of in both worlds. And it's kind of like I am with the majority of things in my life. I feel like I'm kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, which hopefully gives me perspective. But in this case, the argument is, because there has been so much that has been printed and is currently being printed by Wizards of the Coast, it gives me the experience of constantly cycling in and trying new things. So if you look at it from the perspective of this is a good thing because I get to sample all these new and different things, then maybe it's a positive. But on the other end, you have to keep up with it in order to experience those things. So, give and take, I think.
I can read, one of the most recent sets, or if not the most recent set, you're looking at Ravnica, and I'm just, they put a lot of good reprints in there. Awesome. I'm all for budget. Always have been. I try to do that with I like good quality, but budget friendly. And I feel like it wasn't enough. They put so many reprints in it, and they just changed the mana symbol, or they just changed, the set it's from. They altered in the artwork, and it felt very rushed.
Yep.
And I prefer a better quality. Like, hey, it's a Boros Elite, but give me some new art.
A different Boros Elite.
Yeah, give me some new art, and then maybe it'll be worth a little bit more, or I'll collect all 4 of them again.
That is the exact reason why Warhammer 40K pre-con decks from the MTG like last year when those came out, that's the very reason that they were such a slam dunk. Although there was like a Wayfarer's Bauble and Soul Ring, the Soul Ring was different for every faction.
Yeah.
The Wayfarer's Bauble was different for every faction, right? Beautiful art, stunning.
I mean, that's why I buy Secret Layers, because they're beautiful, and they're like cards that I run, and now it has something that grew up in my childhood that I want to own, just an alternate art copy. Maybe I won't put it in my deck, but I have it in my binder, I purchased the Princess Bride. Love that movie growing up. My wife's favorite movie growing up, and it's something we relate to each other. I love
the Princess Bride.
Yeah, it's a good movie. So I had to buy that Secret Layer. That was a must. But I had to purchase that. I budgeted myself. Yeah, I'm getting that Secret Layer non-foil. Yes, foils are terrible. I hate bent cards.
I think
they're beautiful.
Yeah. I think the foils for you, it's a lot of like the physical reasons because of like the curling and that type of stuff.
Absolutely.
Just to clarify,
love a foil.
If it didn't curl,
I would foil every deck if I could.
Yep.
If they didn't bend.
Well, that's like Tim, who I didn't get into this specifically with him like when we did our interview, but he has the ability to bling out his decks because he typically will print out a lot of his cards and then he can put foiling paper over it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, some of the cards foiled out, I'm like, man, I never had the chance to see this specific card foiled out, but seeing it proxied and foiled out makes me want to buy the foil, but I know the foil is going to be curled to some insane degree, and I'm going to have to like weather treat it and like press it and like whatever else. I just don't want to do that.
No, it's a big process. I started to foil one deck, and it's my 90 swamp deck.
Oh,
just little silly shenanigans.
90 plus swamps.
90
that are just
swamps.
all foiled.
I think it's 92.
I might have some swamps downstairs that are foiled. You can take a look at in that box.
I have a bulk collection of foiled swamps, and then I'm just looking at the deck. One, not only the deck is big to begin with, and they're like just increases by that much. Yep. And then you could see what cards that aren't foiled, and those are like the expensive cards in the deck, or the cards you truly need. Not all the swamps. I have all the swamps foiled.
Yep.
So at that point, you're almost like cheating because you could just see as you're shuffling. So I literally just took all the swamps and I unsleeved everything and I put all the original swamps back into the deck.
Yeah,
there's the pile sitting on the side collecting dust.
That's a tournament issue too. Like that comes up in tournaments where somebody will have like a foil included and the judges make them remove it and put in something else because it's just too easy to actually see that. Even though it's like a standard legal product, still, it's curled, so you could be cheating.
There's a product that I wish wouldn't be illegal, and that is the gold border.
Oh,
so originally, you think about this. Originally, the ruling was because you can see it through even a sleeve or a non-sleeve, and it's altered. It's a totally different back. But now you have all these flip cards. That whole rule should just go out the window. And give me my gold border Gaia's Cradle. I want a gold border Gaia's Cradle. One, I want a Gaia's Cradle to begin with, but it is on the list of cards to purchase.
Maybe they standardize sleeves, because part of the issue too is like if you run a certain lower quality sleeve, you can see the back through it. And you could have a really damaged copy of something and you could see the wear through the back of it. Mm-hmm. So you could cheat like that too, basically.
Don't cheat, people.
Yeah, no, I'm not advocating that.
It's just bad character.
To your point where it's like the gold bordered cards, like if you were to make that legal, which, I mean, effectively those are basically proxies, more or less. You could just maybe mandate sleeves, perhaps. So it's completely, you can't see through.
Throw some dragon sleeves on there.
Yeah, Dragon Shield.
Yeah, there you go.
Sponsor the channel. Use the link down below to go to my coffee, actually, not the Dragon Shield.
I mean,
not sponsored yet.
you can't put light through that thing. That is a thick sleeve.
That's true. That's
and then
true.
You're talking if people double sleeve. Oh, there's no cheating.
There's no chance. There's no chance. Especially if it's Dragon Shield. Sponsor me, please.
Sponsor him.
So yes,
sponsor him so you can sponsor me.
Maybe we just solved this whole tournament issue. Just legalize the gold border. There's probably 2 cards in all of the gold borders that can be used. Imagine, isn't there a guy's cradle that's in the gold border or something like that?
I can't believe the price of it. I just looked it up.
Yeah.
Originally, I had a chance to buy it. I don't know, maybe 8 years ago, and I was just being cheap. I really was.
Was it like 5 cents?
No, I think it was like $35.
Oh my God.
And then like $4 shipping and handling.
It's like hundreds, right?
I'm not doing it. Yeah, I think it's like $130 now. Like, that's a lot. I don't want to spend $130 on a card.
Yeah,
probably will, but not for a gold border. Especially I can't even play with it. So
it's so crazy too, because the online sphere of like buying those high-end cards is so, I've heard this from other people through like Reddits and stuff like that. It gets sketchy because people are starting to get really good at faking cards.
Yeah.
So good to the point where like the card, it looks used, it looks old, but it's done on purpose.
Yeah.
Because they are trying to mimic the original, like the older style of MTG card, which is expected to have that type of wear on it, of course, because it's more suspicious when something is very minty.
Yeah, I agree.
So even
it's
then,
scary. Yeah, know your online buyer, trust them.
Yep. And the terrible part about this, let me just go on a soapbox real quick here. The other day, I was looking. I'm a degenerate. Okay, I'm a degenerate. I'm looking at the camera. I'm a degenerate, and sometimes I will buy a lot of Magic product all at once. I recently, just in the past like few weeks, placed like an $800
and doesn't tell his friend who would jump on being also a degenerate.
Yeah, to get into the bulk order.
Save the shipping and handling.
I spent $800 on cards because I was making 10 new decks for you. I'm doing it for you.
It is true.
And also for me. But I was mostly doing it for you. So
I've seen those decks firsthand. They look nice.
Yeah.
They're fun.
Yeah, exactly. But there was another thing I was looking at, which was the Zendikar Rising collector boosters or booster boxes. And somebody had them listed for like $200 a box, which is, by the way, that's a good deal. But they had like 4 of them listed. And I was like, you know what? I bet that this person would probably sell all 4 to me if I offered like $170 a box or something, maybe $175, right? Save me $100, but you sell out instantly. I buy everything, right? Yeah, I did online sales. I did eBay for like years. I ran my own eBay business. I had employees. I closed out estates. I did this. I would have liked that.
There we go.
But TCG Player does not let you send a message to the other person until you have bought from them.
Okay.
So I suppose what I could have done was gone in and bought like a 10-cent card from this guy or girl and then sent them a message and then been like, hey, I'm interested in this actual other thing. That's the reason I bought it. Would you go down in price? Like whatever. That's just too many hoops to jump through, and the likelihood of that getting lost is much higher. Okay. Because in eBay, it's expected that you might get messages from people that want to do a little wheeling dealing, you know?
It's funny how I'm such a... I love a personal experience that I don't even buy online. I like refuse to buy. I purchased from TCG Player maybe twice. Yeah. And it was to buy, which got me back into card games originally, to play Pokemon online. Because someone had said, hey, you've never... I played Pokemon with my son. Let's learn this. And I said I never knew how to play. I always was interested in learning how to play Pokemon. So he goes, oh, yeah, they have the app online, and you can just play on your tablet. So I went and purchased like $8 or $9 worth of the QR codes, which I wish Wizards did for Magic, because I think that would be awesome. You can go purchase a pack, get a QR code, scan it, get another pack online. Yeah. So not only can you just like, hey, maybe just dump a bunch of money into just buying the gems needed, but also like, hey, I have this pack that gave me some gems, and now you just purchase a physical copy, and you're getting yourself out, and you're getting yourself online. You can just keep playing wherever you are. I think that would be a cool experience, and maybe something I hope they would do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I refuse to sometimes buy things online because I like going out to the store and seeing some of the local people there, and you run into random friends, and just browse. Yeah, I feel like I end up, sometimes I'll purchase a card that I'm like, yeah, it's on the list. I'll get this next time. And then you're sitting there like, yeah, I'll just get it now. I'm here.
Right. The convenience.
Yeah, convenience. Yeah. And then I love to window shop, and then I also like to shop. So
that's the convenience fee right there. And that's actually, I love buying through like my local game store. But
all right, let's hear
when I'm doing like these big orders, like where I know I'm going to be buying a lot of cards, financially, I just can't.
Okay.
Because that 800 or whatever it was I spent probably would have been way more than that.
Yeah,
if I bought locally, it would have at least been 1,100, but probably more like $1,300
plus time and gas.
Well, that's different, but yeah. To the point of, well, and also they probably don't have everything I need, which is the other argument for like, at least online, there will be the card that you need.
That is true.
Through TCG Player. Very rarely and in very niche circumstances will they not have it.
Yeah, I can agree with that statement.
But like, I've gone there and there's like Kaladesh invocations and they're within like $5. And I'm like, it's been confirmed by them to be legitimate and it's $5 more, but it's a beautiful Kaladesh invocation that is confirmed to be real. I'm going to buy it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That type of stuff, especially as you get a little bit higher end, I could totally see never supporting buying online.
Yeah. I will not be
because you
that.
could touch it. You can look at it.
Yeah.
They can show you with the microscope. Oh, here's a little green dot on the back, like whatever.
I've seen them turn down cards saying, hey, a good 40% of this is fake, 60%. Yeah, you got some money cards in the 60%, but there's just too much overall that are fake. I'm not buying your your bulk, or I'm not buying any of your cards,
Yep. They have integrity.
Yeah. And I appreciate that. And again, I know I'm going to get the card and it's going to be real, and not have to worry about. I've made some random purchases online and, you get the card and you're like, I don't know.
Yeah, me too. I've had
this
that.
is sketch, I'll just write that name down and never buy from you again.
That's the problem. They don't make it super easy to do that either through TCG Player or whatever else. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, not knocking TCG. I
love TCG Player.
I've been on the platform to see and the website. It's clean. I like that you could purchase. You can always get your cards because it's coming from different sellers. Just like,
I got some in my mailbox right now.
I just
probably
want to say hello before I purchase from you.
That's just the social.
Put a little thumbnail, a wave or something. I don't know. Hey,
that's the social butterfly in you that's coming out that you
yeah.
just want to like talk to somebody, shake their hand.
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Mark.
Yeah. Let me give you a quick, voice chat. Hey, how you doing? I'm here to purchase some cards.
Yeah.
And that's it.
You break out your monocle.
Yeah. Do put a little thumbnail next to it, and it has the owner or whoever's operating and selling those cards. You just click it and it goes, hello. Welcome to my page.
This is me. Well, I sold on TCG for a while, and I think that's actually what allowed me to sort of kickstart my channel, because I would put my little YouTube cards in with the cards I sold. Tons of people came onto my channel right away, and they're like, yo, bro, I got a card from you in the mail or whatever. Cool. And I sold like 500 plus cards. So, I think that really helped get people clicking on my channel to begin with. So if you're still watching this and, that's something you're interested in doing, it helped me. So give it a try for yourself too, if that's something you want to do. But
good pointer. Good tip.
Yeah, that's free.
That's a pro tip. Right
Normally you have to pay for this type of service, but that one's free.
Yeah.
Speaking of stores, did you ever sell out of the hobby completely at certain points, or do you still have a lot of the original cards that you got into the game with?
I never sell anything.
No?
No, and let me tell you, this brings me back to my childhood. I remember trading a pristine holographic muck for a scratched, damaged Zapdos. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, my cousin Patrick, he convinced me. He was a good salesman. Which, speaking of, he's got his own business now on Staten Island, a deli down on Main Street in Tottenville. Go Patrick! I hope you succeed. Go buy food from there.
The Pokemon Deli?
No, I don't think it's a Pokemon. I haven't been there because I haven't been back to New York since he's opened the business.
Yeah.
But yeah, I traded with him, and I regretted it to this day. And I know he still has it because I've seen it maybe 5-6 years ago. He broke out his collection randomly, moving out one day, and just going back to mom's, and I helped him out. I just happened to be there that day, and there it was, looking me in the eye, like, don't trade a thing, And I go into stores around in our neighborhood now, and you go check out like vintage game stores, and you're seeing the value of like some of those games, or even magazines.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, I love throwing things out, but video games or Magic cards, I do not like to trade. I do not like to sell. I'm trying to get rid of my bulk.
Sure.
But I'm like, it's just there.
We need to. Okay, let me interject here.
Yes.
We need to come up with a business that specifically handles bulk.
Yeah.
Because there is not, and you know it to be true too. You listening right now, that it's always a pain in the butt to order bulk from online.
Let's just turn bulk into, like, I don't know, reusable firewood or fire starters.
No. I mean giving people access to it for an actual reasonable price, right? Where it's like, hey, if you need this common from whatever it is, right? And it's normally like a penny or something online, but the only sellers that have it on TCG Player have like a $5 shipping cost. I mean, it's just chalk it up to a loss, because then if you go to your local game store, most of the time, unless you have some like really diamonds in the rough like we have around here, there's a couple where you can get them for really cheap.
Yeah.
And even then you have to sort through it yourself.
Yeah, that's just
right.
Very time consuming.
Exactly. If people had a way where it's like all these commons are just 5 cents.
Yeah.
Right. And if you want one common, 5 cents. And then all you got to pay for is the stamp. Done.
Yeah.
Right. Now that's not a lucrative business per se. We'd have to figure out another way to like gamify it, where it's like you got to get 10 commons or something, you know what I mean, in order to actually like get it shipped out. But I feel like there has to be some system that exists, or some business opportunity where it's like, send in your bulk, get a fair price for it, and then we resell the bulk or something.
At that point, like, what you're saying is 100% true. I'd rather take my chance gambling on opening a pack just for that common, because maybe I'll get more value out of it.
Right.
I'm the type of person, I don't like going to random ATMs to spend the $3. I'll go buy a pack of bubble gum.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want something for my money, for value. So yeah, absolutely. We got to figure out a way. 100%.
I think we should. You heard it here first. What was the biggest pull you ever had in like a pack? Do you remember?
I'm terrible with pulls. I really am. I'm absolutely awful. Obsolete of the Ghost Council foiled.
Stop.
In standard.
Stop.
And I literally opened up 3 cases the day prior. I split 3 boxes the day prior. I split a case with a friend. I got 3 boxes. I pulled nothing. Like I literally did not pull a foil worth selling, because that was our thing. We're buying this case so we can have all the bulk commons and uncommons that we need. Hopefully, getting shock lands and things that we need for standard.
Yep.
And we'll sell anything of value that's foiled, because you're talking, doubles in price at least. Nothing. He ended up pulling a couple things. I think we sold a couple cards. I don't know. Maybe we got $150 in store credit. I pulled nothing.
Sounds about right.
The following day, I got a random pack on the way to work, and I was just like, I went and grabbed the juice from the mall, and I had like a half an hour to kill. So I stopped at a local store, purchased a random pack. Boom, there it was, a foiled Obsdat. And I was like, wow, my luck is changing. That was it. When did that come out? Like 12 years ago, at least. And I have no luck since.
Do you want to hear my? It's not even a horror story, but like my worst experience with pulls. Battle for Baldur's Gate. All right. Are you familiar with the set?
No, because I had started playing right after that, so I never really got into.
So
Or had time to catch up, I should say.
Battle for Baldur's Gate came out around the time I was getting into the game. Okay. That was actually my very first pre-con I ever bought to get into the game again.
Okay.
It was the Battle for Baldur's Gate, Is It Dragons thing or whatever. But here I am. We're talking like a year plus later. Our local game store, Millennium Games, has set boxes of Battle for Baldur's Gate for like $60. It's like $59.99. And I'm a fiend, Mark. I'm a fiend. And so I see $59.99 and I look online and the price is like $90 a box. And I'm like,
buy them all.
I bought 10. It's so bad. I bought 10.
Sometimes the impulse is real.
Yeah. I bought 10 boxes. All right. And I'm like, you know why do you want to know why I bought 10? Ancient Bronze Dragon.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good card.
That card right now is like $60 to $70 for a single copy. And it's going to be hard to reprint, I think, because it printed in the set with like ancient, whatever, blue dragon, this dragon, that dragon. So I got it, all the boxes for that reason. I'm like, Daddy wants a bronze dragon. And I'm like, I have to pull one, right? Box one. Nothing, maybe I get like one of the other ancient dragons and I get some like cool background stuff. I get a nice nature's lore. Like I probably make like $50, $60 on the box. I basically break even. That's fine. Open the next one. Same experience. Surely there must be one in this box. Nothing. Box 9. Please. I spent $600. And then I get to the box 10. Nothing. I didn't pull a single one.
Yeah.
I opened a bunch of other stuff though, which was good. And that's also why I have like that big box of cards downstairs that I'm letting people pick from, is because I bought so much Battle for Baldur's Gate in the pursuit of getting one card. And man, did I brick.
See, this is why you should never buy packs. Yeah. Just buy the single. It's worth the investment. That way you're guaranteed it without going through all this extra money that you don't want to spend. You can buy more cards essentially.
Yeah, I've since gone to rehab and I'm better now. I'm clean. I'm
clean. So bad with packs that even playing, I don't remember the date specifically, but it was last year sometime. I'm playing at a local game store. They're handing out packs, and I'm sitting next to someone, and they get a Battle for Baldur's Gate. And then they give me like, I think it was like Nuka Pana or something like that.
Yeah.
And I pulled complete dog shit. It was like 24 cents.
Yeah.
And that was probably the entirety of the whole pack was like 24 cents, every card in it. The plastic it came in cost more to make.
Yep.
And then boom, a foiled copper dragon right next to me. I'm like, and they called him right after me. I'm like, why?
Yep.
Why? What? This is my luck.
Do you want to know who has the best luck with pulls? Allie.
Really? I'm telling you.
Let me tell you.
Just have her make purchases. I'm gonna have my daughter make purchases because she always gets the cards.
We're at the Dominaria United pre-release. I bring Allie. It's like Allie's first ever experience with any type of sealed format, draft format, whatever. So here's Allie. Shows up, gets her little box. And you know how it comes with a single like rare that has like the timestamp of like when you went to the pre-release on it?
Yeah.
Shealdred the Apocalypse is her promotional one. You know how much that Shealdred is now?
I can only
the
imagine.
Foiled stamped version.
I can only imagine.
It's like $90.
Yikes.
She pulls it. I look at her and I'm like, there's no way that you just pulled this. I'm like, Allie, if you lose this pre-release, I will be astounded. But anyways, that was like a top tier pull. I couldn't believe it.
I mean, even when we first met, the first day we ever played together for New Phyrexia, the guy sitting across from us, he pulled like a $180 card.
Yep.
That's just my luck with pulling cards. Don't pull cards. Just if you have that luck, go for it.
Yep.
Be my friend. Open packs to me.
Yep.
I'll give you money. Go buy the packs. Open them. Hand them over to me. Thank you.
That's one of the. I'm gonna change. Just guide our subject in a slightly different way. In terms of YouTube stuff that like I watch that is MTG adjacent or related to MTG, I initially, when I first got into the hobby, loved watching pack openings. I loved it.
Yeah.
But I just can't stand it now. Like,
oh, really?
I can't watch it. Yeah.
I still watch the Professor open packs. I love opening packs. I think it's such a unique a unique experience. That gamble. What are you going to get? It's always a surprise. Love it. Just don't have any luck with it.
I could see it like I would love to do. We're going to workshop my channel right now live on the air.
Okay, let's go for it.
I would love to do
Take
something.
10.
Yeah, take 10. I would love to do something with live streaming or adjacent to that where it's like people have the chance to win packs or that type of thing. And I open them on stream and just ship them the pack that gets opened. But there has to be stakes involved where it's like, I'm going to open these 3 collector boosters for you if I don't do X or something, right? And I think that the MTG streaming space is so wide open to just get blown out by somebody because the highest MTG YouTubers like that currently exist gross like 1,000 viewers at one time around that. Sometimes it's more depending if it's a holiday, a weekend, whatever, maybe 1,500 to 2,000, but most of the time it's like 1,000 is the top end. And the only time that gets broken is when somebody who is not strictly an MTG influencer goes live for MTG. And then all of a sudden, it's like 20,000 people watching or whatever, but rarely that happens. So I think that if there were stakes added to some extent, it might be more fun for people where it's like, you're just waiting for my downfall the entire time. You're praying that I'm just going to like lose right here. So that way you can get your collector packs, right? Yeah. I think that would be kind of fun, honestly. But I haven't come up with a way to like actually gamify it or like make it interesting in that way. Yeah. But I think that'd be fun. And then pack opening for me would be fun because then I can get angry when I pull something really good for somebody else. And now I have to send it to Belgium and report customs fee on that. I'm like, this thing is worth, I don't know, 10 cents when really it's worth like $100 or something. Yeah. So that's my idea. Now you tell me why it's a bad idea.
I don't know. I love the idea.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm all for it. I'm trying to come up with something in my head on the fly on how you can make that possible. I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah,
sorry, I can't help you.
I mean, like MTG Arena is like the obvious one where you go on Arena and you do some type of arena challenge, right? Okay. But I'm not like big into MTG Arena.
I'm not either.
Like, and then I'm thinking like, how can I do it with deck building? Because like I would love to go live and help people like with their decks. But then it's like, how do I make that interesting? Because most of the time it's just like a waiting room of people waiting to get their deck audited by you in some capacity. And that's not really fun for me either, because then most of the reason the people that are there are either to be the ones that are correct. They're like, oh, I recommended the right card, or it's the people that are waiting to get their deck help, right? And I don't think that's like that fun either. There's got to be something else. Maybe it's a bit like Loading Ready Run. I don't know if you're familiar with their stuff.
No, I'm not. Man, kids take up a lot of your life.
Yeah, they do, for sure.
So I tend to sometimes just fall off of watching the things I love watching, only because of the hours. I can only get to watch TV late at night, and usually I start falling asleep as I'm watching.
Well, Loading Ready Run, they do a live series, and they'll do stuff like, what's the name of it? It's the, come on, chat, help me. What is that called? It's the one where you can shuffle 2 boosters together and then just play.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know the name.
It'll come to me, but they do stuff.
12.
Yeah, there's been 12 takes, by the way.
This is all natural. This is
completely. Definitely not bricking on the spot. They do series where they will have that basically where they shuffle 2 packs together live and they just play.
Okay.
And it's kind of like a competition. See how far it gets you, like whatever. And I think there's probably certain ways to make certain types of streamed content more interesting, but by and large, I think stream content just feels like a void. Yep. It feels like a blank space where people don't necessarily have anything better to do and they come and watch it. Whereas like YouTube is just such a superior way to spend your time.
YouTube has been a huge part of my life.
Yeah.
I remember original YouTube, first couple videos, babies eating lemons with my friends.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Those are good times, man.
I was
Halo 2.
Yes.
And watching YouTube,
I actually had an idea. I've never pitched this to anybody else, even my loved one. All right,
let's go for it. Oh, I feel this is a special moment.
Very special for you. I thought about doing like a different channel where it would basically be mostly streaming, and then it would be sort of like maybe stream highlights sort of thing would be like the YouTube channel. But basically, it's just like TV with Kyle or something like that. It might be a different name, but essentially all it is me watching all of the old videos from YouTube and everything else that shaped my childhood.
First person view?
I would be on stream watching it with chat.
Oh, awesome.
And like, it's just like, I'm thinking back to Hutch playing Modern Warfare 2.
Okay.
I went back and I was watching one of his videos the other day from like OG. We're talking like 16 years ago or whatever it was when he launched this. And I remember thinking, this is the coolest guy I'm ever going to watch. Where are we now?
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
The amount of complexity that goes into something like this that we're doing right now is 15, 20 times more complex than what he was doing, right?
Yeah.
But I would love to go back and watch that stuff, or go back and watch like the old Halo tournaments, because all that's available. All the old H3 tournaments that I used to watch from back in the day, it's available. The Halo Reach tournaments, it's available.
Yeah.
I would
sit
there and comment on it.
The Melee tournaments, personally.
I would love that too.
Smash Brothers was I loved Smash Brothers growing up. Always been a huge fan of it.
Yeah.
And really learned how to play and like wave dash.
Yeah.
I became a really good Smash Brothers
and
player.
Double Dash, right? Or is
Double Dash I was naturally gifted at. Yeah, me and my boy Clayton. Shout out to Clay.
I love Double Dash.
We were the perfect team together. Great friends, best friends, better Double Dash players. Like, we were the best. There was no one that could bring us down.
I loved Mario Kart.
We were so in sync that we just knew when to. We didn't have to say, all right, flip, rotate, nothing. We just naturally did it.
Yeah.
I would love to play it right now. Let's just end.
Yeah. We'll be back in 30 minutes.
Let's just live stream it.
Yeah. I think that I actually, when I was younger growing up, there was what was it called? It was right near RIT. If you're local, you know, it was called Arena 51, not Area 51. It was called Arena 51, and it was an internet cafe.
Okay.
All right. Very rare in the United States. In other countries, especially in like, Japan and like other Asian countries, it's actually pretty common. Okay. But here in the US, very uncommon.
Yeah, I never knew this existed.
So you basically go and you can pay for time at a computer.
Okay.
That's what it is. And so at your computer, you can have access to all these preloaded games or whatever else that's on those computers. And so like, it's pretty reasonable. It'd be like $5 or $10 for like a couple hours, right? But you can play all these games you wouldn't have had access to otherwise. And you can also play them like online against other people and like that type of stuff. So very cool concept, especially for those people that are like less fortunate to have access to all those things. They can try it first and then maybe get it. But they also hosted a bunch of tournaments too. Some of them were Smash tournaments. Like I remember competing in a Brawl, right? That was the Wii version one, Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I was playing a Brawl tournament. I think I got like 3rd place or something at that tournament at Arena 51. And I just got demolished by, I think it was like Ice Climbers or something like that. I just got walloped by this guy. And I think my brother got 1st place. My brother was a fiend at fighting games. Fiend. But regardless, where I was going with this is I always had the idea growing up. I was like, this is what I want to own. I would love to have something like this where I can like host a tournament. And I'm more practical now. I understand I probably can't own a physical space for the only purpose of hosting a tournament. Okay. But I would love for like this channel or whatever adjacent thing I do to turn into something like that where it's like, listen, guys, we're having the biggest MTG tournament at this location at this time. And then like maybe like a year later, it's like we're doing a Halo 3 throwback tournament with all the original pros, like putting it on. That would be like peak me.
You got to open up like a spot that hosts like weddings or sweet 16s. And then like once a month, you just, you just paid for your hobby. Everyone just come play. Just come have a tournament with me.
I would love that. Be a bit more philanthropic.
Yeah. Can you imagine though that scenario of just big chandelier and like just elegance that. Just the whole place is just gorgeous, and then you're just full of sweaty hot people playing video games for hours, just button mashing.
Don't stop talking.
And then the next day someone's getting married at the altar.
Keep talking to me. I love it.
See, fantasy, it's a great thing, man. It makes people laugh.
That's what I dreamed of though. I still think that eventually that's something I would love to do. Like maybe once the YouTube channel, as long as you all subscribe, we reach like a large audience where it's like I'm easily getting like, in the tens of thousands, but ideally more than that views to help sort of financially offset what I'm trying to do, because, you know, my goals are big. My visions are big for what I can accomplish and I would like to do, but it also requires a hefty financial investment. So
absolutely.
None of this is cheap.
No.
Absolutely. Especially like, for instance, throwing like an older tournament, like if I want to do H2, H3, like whatever, like a throwback tournament, there has to be something for the players to compete for, right? And a lot of that is just financial incentive. It's just, I'm going to promote this prize pool for people to be interested. And then also, you know, ergo, hopefully people are interested to watch it as a result. Now, most of the reason would be just for me to get the childhood enjoyment out of like running something like that. But the other part of it is like, yes, it needs to somewhat financially flow to offset the cost of this thing.
Makes sense.
So anyways, I thought a lot about this. We'll see where the channel takes us first with MTG. But, you know, eventually doing MTG events, but also gaming events, that would be just amazing.
That sounds like a good time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, maybe I won't participate, but I'll help you. I'll help you set that thing up.
You can listen. You can just play some original Smash on the main stage.
That'd be a great time.
It would be me versus you, and it'll be the most dog water gameplay ever seen.
Maybe that's how we'll pick two different things. What people will win as a grand prize, determining on the results of our match. There you go. You'll get this if Mark wins. You'll get this if Kyle wins. You know, and maybe just people like commenting will just break my morality down a little bit, and then you'll win.
Your ego slowly gets deflated. Wow, he's actually really not good looking. His accent, I don't like it.
Oh, I miss a lot of letters when I speak. Pronunciation. Goodbye.
Sometimes it is like that. Yeah. That New York City, like Brooklyn accent is pretty thick.
Staten Island specific. I've literally traveled for work and went down south in like Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, and they were not only able to say, "Hey, you're from New York," but they were able to determine the boroughs.
That's crazy.
That's amazing.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Damn you teachers, you failed me.
Well, it's like this is gonna sound really bad, but I have family from the South. Okay. They're from the Carolinas.
Okay.
And so they have a bit of an accent, and they've spoken to me before about how they have prejudice against them immediately upon people hearing their accent. And they know it's because of their accent.
Yeah.
It's the Southern sort of drawl.
Yeah.
Right? Because when you hear Southern drawl, there's this sort of like gut reaction to just think, well, this person must not be educated. Like, that's what people think. And it's terrible that people think that way, but like my own family experiences it. You know?
I had that experience, just the opposite effect, just being someone from the North.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And people think you're smarter as a result?
Not just that. I wasn't liked because I was from the North.
Oh.
Yeah, I found it really interesting. Like, you know me from a hole in the wall. I'm just here to order a number 9, you know, from like...
Interesting.
I don't even remember the spot I ordered from. Great fried food. Holy shit. The South has perfected fried food.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. No good Italian. I would have to travel. There was actually, I'll take that back. There was a spot, I think it was outside of Greensboro, that I would travel to. And sometimes I'm talking like 3-4 hours just to go buy good bread.
Yeah.
Or like deli meat or whatever they were shipping from New York. You know, just you're used to it. It's good. I'm not just saying that because I'm from New York, but like the cold cuts were better, the bread was better.
You're a corporate shill.
Oh no.
Just like me. Just like me.
But their fried food, I remember going to this spot called Fats. And yeah. My friend Vinny and I, we had a hotel and right next door was a spot, Fats, and we just kept on going there. And even after we like changed location, Vinny went back north and I'm out there by myself and I meet another friend and another coworker and we're just working, doing our thing. And yeah, I just kept on going to Fats and they had a fried bread ball with like poppy seed and a cinnamon butter.
Oh, you're going to test negative on the drug test.
All right, let me tell you, I started working that job at like 160 70 pounds. And I think just after that week, I was like pushing like 190. I was like, oh, I got to lay off the bread, man. This is too good. I got myself down, but.
Well, kids will do that to you though. For sure.
That's transit for you, man.
Yeah. Driving
a lot. Yeah.
Well, because you did that for how many years? You did transit service for how many years?
From 2019, from 2019 until 2022, almost 23.
2.5, 3 years.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
Just sitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, just sitting all day, man. And then on top of that, the pandemic thing shutting down. And they shut down our gym. They shut down gyms. If you had New York City Transit, they provided a in-house gym. They had lockers and showers, and they really gave you everything.
I need everyone watching the video right now to watch me, because I'm about to imitate how you drive.
All right, let's go.
All right, you ready?
This
is Mark when he drives. He doesn't sit back into the seat like this and drive like this. This is how he drives.
Do I really?
That's me checking my mirrors.
3 to 5 seconds. 3 to 5 seconds. There you go.
And then I'm like, Mark, where's your seatbelt? And you're like, oh, city habit.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I threw that seatbelt right out the window. That's not true, police.
Yeah, but you sit like so far forward. It's definitely from your transit service, because I see like other bus drivers do that too.
I enjoy sitting straight up. You try to keep your shoulders straight.
Yep.
In my car though, I'm not a 3 to 9.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like I'll say 4 or 5, between 4 and 5. And 7 to 8. That's where I like to hold the wheel.
We're talking about this on a Magic channel.
I know, it's amazing. But I'm driving to go get Magic cards at my local game store.
You brought up your kids too. How do you
feel? You leave my kids out of this.
How have your kids shaped like your hobby? Like, do you feel like it's added to it? It's taken away from it? Like,
I think it's added to it. Because as a father, you need time to yourself, and that time to myself is magic. I get to just decompress a little bit from the week of just being, not saying anything bad against my kids, but just to decompress, to maybe go back to my youth a little bit when I started playing Magic originally. So I think they've added to it. And then again, I'm always looking forward to the future, although I would love to take as much time to get there. Just a nice, slow process. Just love that my oldest loves Magic. And,
just slowly onboard them.
She doesn't understand the value of things. And she's just like, hey, cool, you built me this zombie deck, and now I want a fairy deck. I'm like, do you know how much I just spent on that deck?
Yeah, kids, I think back to like when I was a kid, same story.
Yeah.
No concept of money.
No. The funniest thing is I went to purchase something, or she wanted me to purchase something, and I'm like, just tell her, I don't have money right now to spend, And she goes, what do you mean you don't have money? I said, look, I have no cash, And she goes, and she takes my wallet and she goes, look at all this. And she just runs her hand against all the debit and credit cards. She's like, just do this,
Just do this.
Like, no, that's not how that works, kid. It's called a budget, all right? You follow that budget.
Credit cards can be dangerous, man. That's for sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I've learned firsthand after spending too much money on Magic the Gathering products.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It'll get you.
Absolutely.
But be responsible, all right, Kyle?
I wonder, because, I would love to have children. It'll be quite embarrassing for my own kids to look back on stuff like this. Probably it'll be a long time from now, like 15 years or something like that. But I wonder how it's going to change my relationship, like either with this hobby or with like gaming or like that type of stuff, because it's just this new element that's added to your life. And it's like, you have no choice but to make it a big deal in your life.
Yeah.
It's not like something you can just turn off and on. It's there all the time.
Yeah.
So I wonder how that's going to affect me personally.
I think you're going to be a great dad personally. And I
you.
think you're going to love the experience, and you're going to take it the same way I took it, just watching every little moment and just seeing them enjoy life, There's
I'm a very sentimental guy.
Yeah, there's nothing more pure than a child.
Mm-hmm.
And just watching them experience life. Try to put yourself into a child's eyes and you'll appreciate life just a little bit more.
Right.
And then, I don't ever force things on my kids. If Tilly doesn't like doing something, I'm not going to let her do it. And I'm not going to tell her she has to do it. Like, hey, I want you to play this board game with me. If you're not interested in it, maybe I'll just play with other people. Maybe I'll play with some friends, and she'll just come in. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, this is the game you didn't want to play, And then that looks interesting. And then maybe we just get a little one-on-one experience, those are the things that I value and I really enjoy.
It'll be interesting. Because you have multiple children, and a lot of people that I've played with in MTG, because I think on average the age for MTG viewership skews older.
Yeah.
As denoted by my general population who watches my videos, where it's like 75% is over the age of 30.
Yeah. It's a very complex game. When I took this game on, and they're telling you, you just everyone think about the first time you played on how overwhelming it was. Just paying for something, you had to think of it as like a money cost, and you pay for it once, and then you get all the basic rules down, and then it's like, oh, there's something called the stack.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what is the fucking stack?
Yep. And then in Yu-Gi-Oh, it's the chain. You chain stuff.
And then just all the other things, static effects and board effects, and just the way that level goes. A blood moon versus this, and it's just
the layers.
Yeah, the layers
work.
Yeah. It's a lot to, and I think
it is for sure.
That one thing I appreciated that Magic started doing was that they put little tips and the rules in the packs. I've seen that more now than I ever have. So when my daughter was playing and I sat there writing down the rules, and I'm like, hold on, they have all these. Let me just look for these little tokens, and she would just sit down and look at,
like the one that shows your turn order and stuff like that.
And the phases and what what goes first. So that helped her a lot, especially being so young and playing such a mature game.
Yeah, it definitely, I feel like, levels up your children in a certain way. Like I've seen people post about it, like on Reddit, where they're like, yeah, my kid is doing X level math because he's been forced to calculate all these MTG scenarios. Or his favorite card is Scoot Swarm, and he has to figure out how many Scoot Swarms he's going to have after it doubles so many times, right?
Yeah.
And it's like he wants to figure it out. Like, you gamify something like that, and all of a sudden kids are going to want to learn, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So you got to make things fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
that was actually something I was looking at doing for a while, which was making some type of compendium. I think that's the best word for it, is like a compendium or a resource for new players that they can click on. Maybe it's one video, something like that, and it has everything you need, where it's like, what is Magic? How do I play it? What are the different game modes? And all sectioned off with chapters and all that type of stuff, because I love teaching.
Okay.
So I think that would be something I would love to do. But my God, is that going to be a lot of work?
You know what I've noticed too, again, seeing it with my children firsthand, Commander is an experience in itself, and 100 cards of all just one copy. It's just a lot to remember.
For sure.
So my best advice is getting into the hobby, or wanting to play, sit down and just do a 60 card format. And play with 4 of each copy, and you'll learn how to play, and you'll learn that deck, and you'll appreciate Magic that much more, and then start branching into other things.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot to take on. Just the rules in itself is a lot.
What about like D&D? Did you play any D&D with your kids?
My oldest, yeah. She loved it. She would derail my campaign a lot. I would do a lot of one shots with her, and just. I had to start just doing things on the fly.
Sure.
But yeah, she had a lot of good fun. She was I'm trying to remember the species. She played it. She played as a child. No, she was. I think she was a
gnome.
She was a rogue wizard.
Oh.
And we used Eldritch Blast as her just creating any spell that she wanted. Because one minute I would just try to, here are the rules. You're fire. You have fire powers, or you have whatever you want.
So she was probably a rogue sorcerer.
I think we chose...
Or sorceress.
Maybe. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But whatever Eldritch...
Or maybe a warlock.
Maybe it was a warlock.
One of those, yeah.
But yeah, I had to convert the game, and that's the beauty of the game itself. All right, Eldritch Blast is now whatever magic you have. If you're throwing, snowflakes like Elsa, or you're burning trees, just use Eldritch Blast. And we had a lot of fun just creating these little simple games, and I was always big into visuals, so like I purchased houses, and that wire cutters are
amazing. The Proxxon hot wire cutter. Yes. Yeah.
Not sponsored, but definitely buy it.
Sponsor me.
That was an amazing investment.
My favorite D&D memory that I've ever had, I think I've told you about this before, but I'm going to reiterate it anyway. So as a part of my 5-year plus long D&D campaign, we reached a certain point where they were dabbling with divinity. We'll just put it that way, right? So they're getting into like godhood levels. Like once you reach like 18th level, 19th level, you're near godhood basically at that point. And sort of as like a reminder sort of thing, like one of the gods through like one of the clerics sort of, it was either that or maybe a curse, something along those lines, turned them all into like different ages and also different species as like sort of like a let's spice things up sort of thing in the campaign. And so Mike, if you're watching this, thank you for your existence.
Thank you, Mike.
My buddy Mike, he's out here playing a druid, and he's like this youthful elf druid, whatever, and he gets transformed into a tabaxi, which is a cat person. And he rolls for age on a percentile die, and he gets 99.
Oh my God.
And I was like, hold on, pause the game. Let's please first look up the average lifespan of a tabaxi. And it was like 55 or something. And I'm like, so you are now the oldest tabaxi to ever live.
There's one frail cat.
Yeah. And so now he has to role play this decrepit old like cat.
That's
basically
amazing.
And so they're on an island of like lizard people, and they're chasing them around. And so he's like, bro, I'm a cat, I climbed the tree, right? And so he gets up on the tree to like get away from the lizard people, rolls a stealth check, boom, all's well. And now he has to get down from the tree. And so I'm like, yeah, so you can get down from the tree now. And he's like, okay, I jump. And I was like, listen, Mike, listen.
I think you should call the fire department.
Just call the fire department. No, I'm like, Mike, look, if you jump, you're 20 feet in the air, and he had like 1 HP left. I'm like, you will die.
Yeah. 100%.
I'm like, no matter what I roll for damage, you are so low on hit points, you will just pass out. And nobody else is around to help you to like, to stem your bleeding, so to speak. And he goes, I'm a cat, bro. I jumped. And so I'm sitting here. I'm like, are you sure you jump? This is like the DM. Like,
you can only give so many hints not to do this.
And then he's like, I jump. And so he jumps. And of course he takes bludgeoning damage on the fall. And then he gets knocked out with nobody around. And I'm like, Mike, just roll your death saves right now, because there's nobody that's going to reach you in time. There's no way for anybody to know. He dies. His character dies after jumping out of a tree
at a ripe old age of 99.
Yeah. And so my characters and the rest of the party eventually find his dead corpse. And, they're near godhood anyway, so they're going to find a way to bring him back. And so they had this magic sky galleon, basically, like a flying ship. So they load his body onto this ship. But because of some complexities that I had baked into like the campaign, they were having difficulty getting the ship up and going again. And so the lizard people started to like climb onto the ship, and it was like a pirate battle sort of thing. Meanwhile, Mike's body is just getting tossed around on the battlefield. And then they finally get up and going. And there's so many lizard people on the boat at this point after the boat is up in the air and their sky ship. They decide to do like a twirl move and like spin the ship around to like flake all the lizard people off of the ship. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. Sure, why not? So they do it successfully. Everybody's holding on. And then DM Kyle remembers, where is Mike's body? Because it was just like on the deck.
Now that cat is just floating in the water.
So
it's a stinky, decaying wet cat.
So I had him roll for it. I'm like, all right, guys, you roll to find out what happens. I'm like, if you roll this percentage, he stays on the boat. This, he falls off. This, he gets flung like really far away. And so he got flung really far away.
I think if I was part of that group, I would have taxidermied.
So it gets better because now his body gets flung really far away. And so they go and find him. and he's just like jelly because he's a 99-year-old cat that gets turned into jelly after getting flung hundreds of feet or miles, whatever it was. And so finally they're like, well, we can't, of course, this is the D&D player. If you're a DM, you know exactly how this is. They're like, well, we can't leave him behind.
See, I'm telling you, me as a player, I think I would have taxidermied my friend's character and then just carried him and he would always be there.
They scoop him up in a bucket.
Okay.
All right. So now he's in a bucket. I don't know. Do I have the sheet? Please, God, tell me I have the sheet somewhere. Oh, no. I'm going to find it. I might just cut this out until I find it. Mark, this is gold. I'm telling you.
Oh, I can't wait. D&D, another game to play. Great game. There's the binder of binders. I see all sorts of good stuff. Is this your DM binder?
Yep.
Oh, look at that. You should print this. This is probably a great campaign. If you want to play a great campaign and have amazing stories just like Kyle, just send him a DM. Maybe he can send you a copy.
Send him money. Okay.
Please pay for shipping.
It's not in there.
No! This was a waste of people's time. All right?
I'll cut it out. Actually, maybe I'll just leave it all in. There's a bunch of new character sheets. You want to roll a character right now?
Oh, I'd love to roll a new character. If you want us to roll a new character right now.
This is not planned. I found it.
Yes, he found it.
So.
I did not expect this.
All right, everybody. There's some profanity written on here. Mike, how you doing? So I had Mike because he got flung off the ship. I was like, all right, you guys are going to pick him up in a bucket? And they said, yeah. And I'm like, all right, well, you're going to need something to denote that it's Mike because I'm just having fun now because he's flung off a boat. I'm like, what are you going to like put on the bucket to denote that it's a puddle of your once friend, Mike? And so
I haven't seen the image yet, but what is bleeding through it looks like what I would put on a pumpkin, like what I would carve out of a pumpkin.
It's exactly how it goes. And so they're like, well, we're going to draw a cat face on the bucket to denote that it is the sludge of our once beknown cat friend, Mike.
Amazing.
And so I said, okay, that's fine. Can somebody draw it for me? And, everybody's like, oh, yeah, me. And I'm like, oh, actually, Mike, how you doing? I'm like, Mike, I want you, because you obviously don't have arms or legs or hands, I want you to use your mouth and a Sharpie, and I want you to draw out with your mouth what you look like. And so there's my friend's Mike's interpretation of what his bucket face looked like.
I want to put that on a pumpkin right now.
And I might have to bleep this out, but then somebody, I don't know who wrote this. It says, place your pussy here in the middle of the mouth.
There's a delayed beep right there.
So that was my D&D story. You're welcome.
Good story, man.
Oh my God. I love that was a great campaign, man.
Yeah.
I sometimes miss it, but again, you get in so deep, you hit all the high emotions. Like I had people like crying at the end of the campaign. Like it's hard to get over that. You know what I mean?
I had my friend Mike, when I tried to take on the responsibility to become a DM, hey, you've played this for years prior to me. Show me how this is done. So he took over as DM, and I really got a good experience watching him DM and actually playing the game and having fun playing. I played as a barbarian that I used my rage ability to transform. It was pretty much me being a werebear.
Yeah,
it was my way of concealing being a werebear. Really cool storyline, really cool backstory behind my character. But I would troll him a little bit, and I would just, everything we fought, I would just try to take its genitalia. And just carrying things around.
Hey, that's like Critical Role too.
He hated it.
No, that's Critical Role too.
It was just so much fun messing with your friend. Do
you remember the troll deck?
No, I don't.
That was a running gag.
No, I don't.
So they in the Critical Role campaign, before they even got, I believe, onto their to the stream, they had killed a troll and they took different bits and parts from it.
Okay.
They chopped off a dick of a troll. And so they literally just had on his sheet, it says troll dick.
That's amazing.
And so eventually, I don't remember what happened, but they like brought it out like later on in campaign 1, and it like was like sludge or something.
That's hilarious.
So
yeah, I had a fell
You're not
stench
alone.
on me.
You're not alone.
No. Just whatever I can cut. he tried his absolute hardest, But that is something I had good luck with. Is high rolls. You can't deny me with a natural 20.
Yeah,
I'm taking that Manticore dick.
Hey, maybe there's what is Manticore is like 2 heads, right? Or no? Oh, different parts of the body. That's
Yeah. Yeah, but I got it. It's in the bag. When we're ready to play it will be there.
I love it. Maybe I should give D&D a go again.
Yeah. I think we'd have a good experience with that. And honestly, our friend group to begin with, I think would enjoy the experience. We enjoy Magic together. I wouldn't see why we wouldn't enjoy your pieces, my pieces combined. We have a lot of figures.
That's true.
I have full armies of certain things.
I'm gonna put my foot on the ground here, though. I'm not gonna stream it or record it ever.
No.
Ever.
This is just for fun.
We are not to the level that Critical Role has already reached.
Yeah.
We'll never be there.
No.
End of story.
Unless you just want to see us play.
No, not even
5 years from now.
Absolutely not. Maybe streaming and production for like actual like MTG games, but I couldn't see myself doing D&D.
No. It's
too much.
It's a lot, yeah.
It not only is it like a lot of production work and like post-production work, but it's also just like you need the personalities involved, and not everybody's a theater major.
See,
I
think that's what turned me off originally, was the lack of the personality. Not that I want to be completely consumed in being the character, but you needed a fun experience. You needed someone to reenact certain things, or just be your character just a little bit. Get into the game.
Yep.
So having someone that is just, if you just want to do one shots and not have a character story or anything like that, go play a video game. I wasn't there for that.
Right.
So, and that turned me off a little bit. I wanted that experience of just me being this, chaotic character. It was just a good time.
Well, and also like, here's the other thing. Like, I think people get caught up with Critical Role. They think they have to do all the funny voices, like whatever. And like for my campaign as the DM, I did that because I found it fun.
Yeah.
And I felt like I wasn't completely butchering it. So I was like, okay, maybe this adds to the ambiance or something. But for the average player, you don't have to do that.
I agree.
Like you have to follow through maybe with like the choices the character would make.
Yeah.
Right. So like it's not what you would do, it's what your character would do.
Do you know what I enjoyed? And I have on my YouTube a channel, not a channel, but like a saved area specifically dedicated to D&D noises. So I had 2 files. Character noises, dragons breathing or walking, whatever it was.
Yep.
Even just playing in the setting of the music in the background. You're in the middle of a boss battle, get immersed with some crazy music.
Some Witcher 3, bro.
Yeah,
some Witcher 3.
So I would set up speakers and stuff, and just get involved. That's what I enjoyed about the game.
I don't have it. I wish I could easily show everybody, and there's like no good way without having something to actually duplicate the sound. But I bought this old like 1970s like receiver with all these outputs on it. And I had hooked up like 4 speakers for like D&D stuff. Amazing ambiance. Amazing. Yeah. It was great.
Let's do this, man.
I still got it. That thing is expensive. It's a Lafayette.
Okay.
That thing is like $700.
Okay.
Because it's like the old,
heavy
it's like old style. Yep.
Yeah,
super heavy. Yep.
Very cool.
Yep. We could do it.
Yeah.
We could do it.
I'm not opposed. Never opposed.
So that's your other hobby. So talked about Magic, D&D, video games, that type of stuff. Any other hobbies that we don't know about?
Painting. Absolutely love painting. Always been big into painting. That is something I've never fell off with ever in my life. You play Magic, and I got years between aquariums, sometimes a year or 2 in between, maybe longer. Art, never. I remember coming up here with canvases in my trunk right next to my tools and just sitting in the back of my car or my SUV, just painting. I have plenty of photos, ultra realistic to characters, and I would just paint in the back of my car, and I'd watch the sunrise or the sunset depending on the time of the day, and just paint what I seen. And it was very calming and soothing, very therapeutic. And I've always had a passion for art, love art. And that's something that draws me to Magic is the art.
Oh, yeah.
I love the realism of, there's, I don't like the earlier art.
Yeah.
It's just, I appreciate it now as a Magic player.
Like the woolly mammoth.
Yeah, like, all right, I get it. You get to watch the art grow, the artists grow. Cool concept. When I first got into it, hated it. Didn't even want to touch old borders. Hate white borders, Now I appreciate it. And it's the same thing. They drop these alternate arts, and like, I'm not a big anime person. Enjoy anime. I don't want it in Magic. That's just me. Not knocking anybody that enjoys it. I know Tim enjoys it. I don't know about yourself.
Depends.
But I didn't want it in this world.
Sure.
It's the same thing when they put Rick from The Walking Dead.
Oh, that was a big hubbub.
That is just, why is that character in this fantasy world, So that bothered me. I like the whole secret layer where you can have Rick as an alternate card of something. That would make more sense to me.
Sure.
I enjoy that more than just having this card. This is the name of the card. It's a part of many decks. It doesn't fit the world, know. Elves and dwarves fit, dragons fit. Things like that,
I speak with Tim about this a little bit, so I'll leave out my opinion a bit here.
Okay.
I'm gonna just ask you.
Okay.
How would you feel if there was ever a format that existed where, I want to make sure I word this properly, secret layers and universes beyond was the only thing allowed?
Okay.
And in other formats, this is a two-parter. So how would you feel if that existed?
I wouldn't be opposed. I don't think I would be playing it.
The next question is how do you feel about banning universes beyond in standard formats like Commander, that type of stuff?
I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's just, I guess, personal taste. I feel like a rule of thumb, if it doesn't fit into Lord of the Rings, probably doesn't fit into the Magic world. Your wizards, you shouldn't have rifles. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
I hated vehicles. Like, I get a
crewing,
chariot could be a vehicle,
mechanic,
but then you got this weird flying spaceship. It's just like, it didn't fit. I didn't like it. I didn't like the whole ninja thing. I love the mechanic behind it. I don't like that it's called ninjutsu. Don't like that.
That's an interesting argument too, because if we look back to Portal 3 Kingdoms, are you familiar with the set?
No.
So Portal 3 Kingdoms was a set that was originally put out, I believe it was just for the Australian audience in English, and then everyone else, it was in their native language. So like, for instance, in Japan, it released in Japanese, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
But there was never a US release.
Okay.
And there was an extremely limited English print run of it.
Okay.
So it's very sought after now.
Okay.
But the whole purpose of the set is just to relive a certain era of Chinese history.
Okay.
That's all it is.
Okay.
So all of the generals, like the legends in the set, were supposedly real people.
Okay.
Or they're representations of them in some way.
Okay.
And it's so interesting to me that that existed.
And this is in Magic.
Yep.
See, now I think I've come across those cards and I just don't like the art style. So I'm like, I don't want this.
It's an old set, but it's interesting because this like goes way back. And I was reading like forum posts from like 2004 or whatever it was. And it was like, oh, I hate this. It's like outside of the world or whatever. And then meanwhile, there's other people that are like, I didn't even know this existed because there was such a limited US release, EU release. But this debate goes way back. It's not just like a new thing.
Okay.
So it's interesting that you feel that way too. Just just leave it out of my stuff. Leave it out.
I don't need
You're not alone.
I don't want like Banjo-Kazooie on a card,
Sure.
It sounds awesome. If it came out, I'd probably purchase it, especially that little skull guy.
Yep.
Love them. But I won't ever put him in my deck.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with like the Princess Bride, the Secret Layer. I love the card Silence.
Yeah.
I played it wrong for many years until I learned actually how it worked and how you should play an instant card. Because I'm not that kind of player. I'm aggro. I'm not going to put my Secret Layer Princess Bride in the deck. Although it is Silence.
Yes.
It's not Banjo-Kazooie is the name of the card and it's got some shenanigans written on the bottom. I don't know. I don't want to play that game. It's just it turns me off a little bit to those cards.
Wizards really botched it. Like the very first one, I think it was very first, was the Walking Dead set, right? That was the first Secret Lair, is that right? Or it was pretty close to the very first one at least.
I'm not 100% sure with that. That's information you would know.
I think it might be one of the very first, or if not the first one that they produced, and they wanted to sell it, so they made the cards powerful.
Yeah.
And they made them really powerful to the extent where like a lot of those cards are still like in the high 50s or more to just buy one of the cards. Insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Insane. And plus it was a limited print run, so people can't get a hold of it, and that's still an issue. Like Secret Lair availability is still a problem.
Yeah.
Like the Cats and Dogs deck that just came out sold out in like a day or two, and people are like, I'm surprised it took so long. I was expecting like 15 minutes and it'd be gone. You know what I mean? But really, that was an issue. Like with the heads I win, tails you lose deck, that was a Secret Lair. I think it sold out in like less than a couple hours.
Okay.
It was gone. So the availability is a real issue, because then a lot of people, like what's happening right now with the Dogs and Cats Secret Lair deck, people are scalping the price right away.
Yeah.
Like right now, people are offering pre-orders, this is just sickening to me. Even as somebody who did online resale, it sickens me because I never did this. I would buy clearance from a store, but this is different. We're buying a limited release product, and then we're going to scalp it. And it's like, I'll buy it for $150. Right now, there are prices out there for like $1,000.
Yeah, that's insane.
Disgusting behavior. Talk about degenerate behavior.
Yeah, I can agree.
Terrible.
Yeah, they do the same thing in sports, and I never was a fan. I think that's
with tickets.
Absolutely insane. I never appreciated it. Just be honest and sell it for a fair price. I mean, you want to make a few dollars, but I mean that price gouging is nuts.
And I can understand the value proposition, just like you're saying. Like if you buy it and then like you realize after the fact, you're like, man, I really probably shouldn't have spent the money on that. I want to get my money back, but I need to save on tax, and I need error of margin for like my taxes, that type of stuff. How about $250? Even that's understandable. Even though it's $100 more and people may still get upset, it's a value add to the product, and you're still reclaiming a certain portion, and you got to report on taxes if you sell enough. Like there's a lot of things to consider. So I'm not totally against resale, just like you are, but
no, absolutely not.
My God, is it bad? Especially right after like certain releases. So
oh, excuse me.
Now that you messed up the audio, we need to restart the whole thing.
I know, I'm so mad. That was so good for so long. I'm gonna pull this over.
I want to. So this is something I think maybe would be good for us to end on here too. Did you have like a favorite block or a set for you?
I loved World Wake.
Yeah.
Yeah, between World Wake and Ravnica. Or I guess that's the Zendikar block. Not specifically. I love Zendikar. And I loved Ravnica, and returning back to Ravnica, love it again. Third time around.
Yep.
Yeah. A cool experience. Cool cards. I love the guilds. Guilds were fun.
Was it the backstory too? Like, were you one of those people that got into like the backstory books, novels, that type of stuff, or not really?
No, not really. I just enjoyed the format, the art, the characters, the whole guild thing. I think that's just a cool way of playing and picking a card. You got to choose when I first played Return to Ravnica what guild you're a part of.
Yeah.
And that became part of the game, and that kind of like pushed me into the cards that I'm playing. I think I ended up choosing Boros originally.
Yeah. Yep.
And I was a red player, and I should say I originally started as a mono white player, white weenie decks. I think it was Student of Warfare was like a really good card back in the day, and then that years later turned into Boros, and now you're playing cards like Boros Reckoner and that Infinite Loop, and then that turned into, all right, let's splash a little green into here. Green seems like fun, and became that Naya player, and just that aggro as fast as possible. I want to beat you. Turn 3, turn 4, and standard. Turn 4 was pretty late for me, to be honest with you. If I didn't draw into a Hell Rider, I not that I wasn't winning it, but that sealed the fate. If I got that Burning Tree, Lightning Mauler.
Emissary, Burning Tree.
Oh,
Emissary.
yeah. Just 2 of those in opening hand, Lightning Mauler and a Champion of the Parish. I was almost guaranteed the game. You know, you drop that turn 2, and you're just watching players just sweat.
Yeah.
You know? So
what about like so that's sort of like favorite set, I suppose, block. So Zendikar, on the initial release.
And definitely Ravnica. Really enjoyed Ravnica too.
And then do you have like a favorite card maybe?
Favorite card?
Really on the spot here.
Really on the spot. I mean, I always loved Champion of the Parish.
Maybe a favorite commander.
Favorite commander?
Maybe
definitely Azori. I love elves.
And that's
Azori, the Renegade Leader.
Yeah, that's
3 mana.
I was thinking Rishkar Pima Renegade.
I think it's 2 green and a colorless.
Yeah.
And then it has the ability for 5 plus. I think it's 3 green and 2 colorless, and then you get to have gives all your elves +3/+3 and trample.
Yep.
And then I run a lot of infinite mana combos in the deck. You've seen from experience.
Yep.
And I don't even play with mana rocks. I don't even have a soul ring in that deck because that deck is so fast that I had to tone it down. I could easily probably win turn 1 or 2 if I would add, free rocks. If I add a soul ring,
for sure,
100%. But I had to take it back a little bit.
Yeah,
it's just so fast to begin with,
Well, I mean that's elves.
Yeah.
Elf ball. It's called that for a reason.
Yeah. Absolutely agree. Definitely, that is definitely my favorite deck, and I really enjoyed playing Tavasa the Sunlit. Getting into blue, I noticed you got to play a little bit of blue. You got to have, not that you have to, but playing blue definitely changes the game, especially when you play something like Voltron. You need something to counter blowing up your only win con.
Yeah.
And it's just a fun experience, just hitting for 42 lethal commander.
Yeah. If you had to leave the audience or maybe those that are still watching with any type of sentiment or maybe, some final parting words, what would they be?
Love one another. Play some Magic. Make some friends. Yeah.
That's it?
I think so. Yeah. I don't know. What else can I add?
No, that sounds good. That's beautiful. That's great.
Just be friends, man.
I want to play Magic with more people. I think that's a great place to end it. Yeah. At least for this round.
This should be a number 2. I'm ready to come back on. I was not nervous for this at all, which I'm very excited about.
Absolutely.
I woke up
I would
pumped.
I'd love to have you back on at some point. That'd be amazing. Well, we'll see what happens. You're going to be the first episode released.
Just be Mark's chair.
Yeah, right. Actually, plot twist, it's just a podcast now. Hi, co-host. How are you? All right, my brother. I love you. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And thanks everybody for watching as well. I really hope that you enjoyed today's episode. So.
Absolutely, man.
All right. That's it. The show's over. Go home.
Yeah. Support his habit. Cool experience, man. And honestly, very comfortable behind the camera.